Is that it up there? Is this it?
I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to find out. Whoa.
Holy shit, dude.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Wait, what? Fighting for white rights. I'm gonna piss my wife off again.
I do have an ass, by the way.
No, dude.
Go on.
The kids.
What do you mean?
I was trying to get them to go to bed, and I put them in their room, and as I was walking away and closing the gate behind me, as I was walking out, fucking hot. Like, not loud enough for the, oh, no.
God damn it.
Today, man, today.
Dude, today has been a...
Yo, microphone, where are you?
Come closer. I need to fucking take my time sipping my...
Yeah. I don't want to have to pee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to pee. I might pee in a bottle halfway through recording.
That's cool.
Should go stand in a corner and pee in a bottle.
Dude, look at this shit on my fucking thumb, man.
Damn, dude, that's raised up there.
Yeah, dude. It's a burn.
I burned my index finger like a month ago, and I still have the red patch from it.
Yeah, dude, I got the same shit over here. Like,
Yeah.
all up this arm from the fryers. This was today. From the fucking pans and shit.
Most of my burns are from making fish sticks. Kids nagging me, and I'm trying to pull them out quick, and I just grab the oven, like the fucking mesh,
Yeah.
shelf thing that's in there.
Yeah.
I'll grab that and burn the shit out of myself. What the fuck? You do dumb shit when you're a dad, man.
I do dumb shit now. What do you mean?
Your brain's gonna be gone, and then you'll do more dumb shit. That's what I mean.
I'm so afraid of that. Honestly, that's like one of my fears is that my brain's just gonna plop itself into this this simple one-way path, and I'm just gonna be on that for the rest of my life. It's like it's gonna be this four things that I focus on. It's like wife, kids, job, podcast, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all I can take right now. Shit.
Yeah. I barely squeeze in time for other things, but I don't know, I just used to have I could go a week and feel functional the whole week. My brain was sharp the whole time.
Yeah.
Feel way less quick-witted. Now that I have kids.
Shit, man. I feel that with just working as much as I do. I don't feel as... I have my moments, but the majority of the day, I lose my train of thought.
Yeah.
And it's just not fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
I get so frustrated because I'll go off into this tangent but forget the whole main point.
Uh-huh.
And usually that's what makes this shit fun is going off in these tangents, but still being able to remember the main point and go back to that and have it come around full circle.
Speaking of tips. I love that episode so
Dude,
much.
it was so much fun. It really was.
Why can't I? It's in the first pocket I checked, but I didn't check hard enough.
Oh.
It's like when you try to plug in a USB and flip it, and it doesn't work either way.
You flip it 4 times, and then it finally goes in.
Yeah.
You're just like, what the fuck?
I think I've told you this before, but it's not my fault that happened. It's that USBs are in a state of hyper, or what's that called? See, fucking my brain's gone. I used to know this, and now I can't remember the word. It's in a superposition. That's what it's called. It's in 2 different states at once, where it's it is that side, but also not that side at the same time.
So Schrodinger's box.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it decides after you've tried 3 to 4 times. You have to try at least 3 times for it to plug in.
Dude, no, fuck that. That's why I like the USBs that have something on one side, a little dent on one side. My mouse has the USB symbol on the top of it. So I know that every time I plug it in that you have the USB symbol facing upwards.
But it depends on what device you're plugging it into, because some devices have their ports facing up or facing down.
Which way is up, which way is down?
Well, okay, so on your computer, they've got the gray block at
Yeah.
the top. That's up. The other way's down. There's certain devices that have it reversed.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that you're wrong, and down is really up and up is really down.
I mean, that's fine and all, but I'm saying like you've got a picture on the cord of what way you think it's supposed to be, but then if you plug that into a device that has the port flipped the other way, then you were wrong to begin with.
We should create a computer and not tell anybody and make a mechanism in there that flips the USB around like randomly. So
Yeah.
like one day you'll try and plug it in, you'll be like, okay, it's this way, and then the next day like it doesn't work at all.
Right.
We'd have to make it so it goes like back and forth, so it never twists your cords up, so you never actually like catch on to what it's doing unless
Yeah.
you like physically see it.
It's like have you seen that box where it's like a robotic arm on the inside of it that you flip a switch on the
Yeah.
outside and it comes back out and flips it back off immediately?
Yeah, people would do some funny shit with that.
Yeah, it's basically that where you're like you try to plug it in and it flips and it's like fucker. You try again.
We'll create a motion sensor in there, so every time you go plug it in, it just spins really fast.
A troll laptop. All right,
Oh, hey,
sir.
I will fucking take it, man. I'm not gonna try and be nice and be like, no, like you first, like it's yours. Nope, I'm gonna.
I think if somebody packs a bowl and they hand it off, there's the understanding that whoever packs it gets greens, but if the person who packs it,
He who pack it, smack it.
yeah, but if the person who packs it forgoes that and passes it anyway, then just accept it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so I got a question for you.
Okay.
How does a blind person know when to stop wiping?
This is actually one of my favorite questions.
Oh, see, listen, somebody said this to me and I was like, oh my God, I've never thought about this before. And then thought about asking you and was like, I bet you he's already thought about it. I was like, I bet you, cause we came up with some answers. Like we thought about it for a minute cause I was talking about it with some of my coworkers and we thought about it for a minute. I think I came up with some solutions, but I want to hear what you have first.
Okay, so here's the thing: is I know the actual answer to this question, but I'll give you the rundown of where my train of thought and where that went when I first heard the question.
Maybe I want to tell you mine first.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead.
And don't tell me if I'm right or if this is like the conclusion, but what we got was either not at all. So they just don't wipe their butt. They just deal with it. Whatever.
No, dude.
Go on.
I don't think that's the case.
You never know. Listen, I'm just telling you.
They
You
just
don't
walk
have
around
listen. We don't have to tell me whether I'm right or wrong. These are just some of the solutions that we had come up with. Okay.
I think I'm just trying to debate your first point. I'm not saying either way. You think they walk around with shitty assholes all day, every day? Like they train themselves to poop less? Like
you could get like a shit schedule and then take a shower after your shit.
well, yeah, shit to shower is a thing that even non-blind people do.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so my other solution was baby wipes. Was they use baby wipes, or another one was having a bidet. Buddy bidet. So those were my three kind of solutions that I came up with. Was either they just don't fucking wipe their ass at all, or
wet wipes or a water
bidet
bit thing. Yeah, okay.
or shower.
Okay.
We'll say shit to shower because
Okay.
I like how that sounds.
All right. Those are all. I mean, I thought similar things. One of my first solutions that I thought of was maybe by smell. Like maybe after each wipe, they smell the toilet paper.
Man, have you ever accidentally gotten shit on your like finger
Yeah.
and even like you've like washed your hand and it still smells like shit?
That's a good point, but does that apply to paper too? Like if you wipe your ass and then you eventually get it clean, is it gonna smell as bad as like the first wipe or even the second wipe on your fifth wipe?
But your butt's always just gonna smell bad, man.
Yeah, but it has a certain level of bad. Like poop smells worse than your asshole. Your asshole smells bad, but poop smells worse. So
there's a difference between the smell of your asshole and your actual shit.
yeah, exactly.
And then also taking into consideration that not having your eyesight heightens your other senses as touch and smell.
That's exactly
and
what I was gonna
taste.
say. Yeah.
Okay, so
That was my first idea. And I mean, that seems kind of reasonable, right? But you bring up a good point where it's like, yeah, but it all smells like shit. I mean, there's different levels, but being a blind person, they might be able to differentiate. And then yeah, shit to shower. I've done that myself before, where it's just like laziness, and that was a messy shit.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather just shower. What there was, I had another idea. Oh, like a buddy system, or like
Oh, no. See, we thought about this too, and this is why I didn't bring this up, was because that seemed all right. I guess if I'm gonna say that they don't shit at all, I can't disregard the idea of there being a buddy system, because I'm like, if I could believe that they just wouldn't do it at all, okay. But still
still a hit in there.
now I have to ask somebody to look at my ass constantly.
Not look at your ass, look at your paper. I mean,
So you just kind of stand at the door and like I just like go like this and I'm like, hey, am I good?
Yeah.
Am I good now?
It'd be like
He's like, nah, wipe a little bit more.
you could maybe
How about
even...
now? But what if you're just wiping in the same spot? Like, what if they don't have? See, that just.
I mean, I feel like they can feel too. Like,
Well, that's where we were saying with the touch.
yeah. So okay, so here's the actual answer. These are all fun thought experiments, but the actual answer this is from a blind person who responded to another podcast that I originally heard this question on, and they sent an email because they listened to the podcast and they were like, "Hey, I'm blind, and this is how I wipe my ass." They just know when they're done.
They just know.
Yeah, they can feel it.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So like there's definitely a difference in feeling like fingers through the paper of what shit smeared ass feels like and what clean ass feels like. And then there's also a difference of feel when your asshole or your ass crack has shit in it still and when it doesn't. And they can tell when it's dry. So like they have a shit sense.
This makes me so much more happier to know that they just fucking know. Like
Yeah.
they can just do it. Like they're just like, I'm done wiping now. I know that I'm clean. I got this.
Would you be confident enough
no.
every time you
Nope.
shit to
Nope.
just wipe, not look, and stand up and pull your pants up and be done? Like never look.
No, and I stand up to wipe my butt too.
Wait, what?
Do you not? You sit down to wipe your butt, or you stay seated the whole ride.
I was gonna say I don't stand up and then sit back down to wipe my ass. Like I'm saluting or something real quick when I'm done. Like, yeah.
No.
I just shit. Let me sit back down and finish this up.
No, I stand up to wipe, man.
Okay, but doesn't that make it harder? Because when you have
What?
well, maybe not for you, but an average person. I'll leave it alone. But an average person, when they stand up, like their cheeks squeeze together, and like standing, your crack is more closed than open, and when you're sitting, you've got more of a cheek spread going on.
I mean, yes, I get your point,
Yeah.
and no, because you just kind of like. I mean, you might have to use your other hand and kind of pull your butt apart, but I feel like it's uncomfortable for me to feel like I'm sticking my hand into the toilet. I don't like the feeling that I could touch water. No.
The water's so far down there.
Not all the time.
I mean,
Not all the time. So now I got to do like this sideways lean, and I'm a skinny person, so like my fucking legs fall asleep, and then if I lean to one side, it just makes it so much worse. Like that leg then becomes dead. Like I go stand up and just like fall over because that leg just can't. There's no blood in there.
yeah, okay, so here's the thing. That all makes sense for you. I wouldn't recommend standing and wiping to other people.
Listen, this is a thing that it's
Standing and wiping?
It's like a 50-50. Like nobody tells you to do this. Nobody tells you to stay seating. Nobody tells you to stand up and wipe. It's just something that you decide on your own to do, and it's like a 50-50, I would assume.
It's like when people from like Asian countries come over, and there's been stories of like they'll stand on the toilet seat and squat over it because
They just don't know.
yeah, like
Well, how do they?
some of the bathrooms in certain countries overseas, they're just holes in the ground basically. Like it's a little more updated than just a dirt hole in the ground. Like there's some technology involved.
No,
They're
I'm just-
nice toilets, but it's just like a hole you squat over.
I was thinking like a cutout like next to a building and there's like a door and you like go in and like you just sit down and there's just a fucking hole that just goes like into the ground. So you just squat there and take a shit and
Right into the center of the earth.
go on with your day.
Yeah. What was the original question? Because I got sidetracked on the standing on the. Oh no, standing to wipe. No, because I think you're taking extra steps, like, and also it feels like a more awkward position to wipe your. I get that, like, you have more access to your ass and you don't have to dip your hand into the bowl, but you can always do like the one leg lift. I'm away from the microphone as I do that. You can always do like the one leg lift maneuver where like you're up on tippy toes on one side, and that raises your ass.
But that's uncomfortable for me.
Doing this right now?
Yeah.
I could hold this for the rest of the episode.
I mean, do it.
Okay. Challenge
can't.
accepted.
I can't. I can't do it. I'm too bony of a person.
Now, this is actually really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made it 10 seconds before.
Eat a dick.
Yeah, but it
okay?
doesn't take that long to wipe your ass, is all I'm saying.
No, I totally feel it. It doesn't take me long to wipe my ass standing up.
You also said you had to use an extra hand. Like, I'm imagining, like, okay, so you got your pants slightly above your knees, right?
Oh.
Or are they on the floor? When you stand up, where are your pants?
Oh, this is a little too personal. They're on the floor, man.
Damn it. No, it's okay. Dude, you poop how you want to poop. No,
And wipe how I want to wipe.
yeah. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't
making
wipe
that a
like that.
t-shirt.
I'm just
It's my new, like,
wipe how you want.
that's how I'm gonna, like, feel better about myself from now on. Anytime I'm starting to get down and low, I'm just gonna be like, poop how you want to poop and wipe how you want to wipe, man. Just,
Fighting.
You can do it.
Fighting for wipe rights.
Anywho, yes, my pants are on the floor.
Okay. So it just seems like extra work with the extra hand. You're doing some prying action. The bowl is like the seat and the way everything's like curved in towards the water is meant to spread your cheeks apart. And like you can just kind of reach back there. I don't know. This is a weird debate, man. Because I feel like you should be allowed to wipe however you want as long as you're not doing it back to front. You know, like you're not wiping towards your balls.
Oh, you're.
Oh, come on, dude.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
I thought you were about to tell me you had shitty balls. Nobody likes shit balls.
Oh, jeez.
Come on, man.
No.
Okay.
No. I at least know that.
This might be a polarizing topic for some. Like, we might
Dude,
upset some people.
I mean,
despite the toilet humor, there might be people who are like, my balls aren't shitty.
Okay, well, I can see how sometimes I might wipe from the top, but I don't go all the way down. Like, I'm not going to touch my balls.
As a rule, it should, like, in general, you should be wiping.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But then sometimes there's, like, shit all the way at the top of my fucking ass crack, so I just wipe from the top down a little bit.
Well, and you can get, like, a scrubbing motion involved, and that's kind of a back and forth. I don't give a shit. But,
Yeah.
Don't just be like... I've seen people do, like, spread their legs super wide, reach underneath their balls from the front, so you're kind of like sticking your arm behind yourself through your legs, and then wipe forward and drop the toilet paper into the water, all in one smooth motion. So it's just like one wipe, drop, another square, one wipe, drop, and then it's the grossest thing I've ever seen. And
okay, so now my next question is, who is this person? Because that's a very intimate moment there.
I don't want to name any names because
Alright,
like they
fair
might.
enough.
This sucks because like even saying like the relations to these people, but let's just say growing up, one of my parents had a friend that lived with us for a while, and he was a larger man, and he would sometimes poop with the door cracked, so you would think that nobody was in the bathroom. So I would just swing the door open. And sometimes he'd be in there peeing or taking a shit. And one time he was back to front wiping under the balls. And that's how I knew that. I was like 8 and I figured out, I was exposed that was a thing that people did. It was too early, man.
I mean, honestly, I feel kind of bad for him because a part of me feels like if he was a larger man, then he probably couldn't reach if he went back the other way.
I mean, he wasn't big enough that he wouldn't have been able to wipe like a
All
normal
right, well,
person.
then no fucking excuse. Listen, we are teaching you guys sanitation. of your own body and making sure that you take care of yourself. All right, that is the first rule to everything: is take care of yourself, which
Self care.
I don't do at all.
No.
So yeah, I'm kind of a hypocrite in that way. I'm like, hey, I want you to take care of yourself. Don't worry about me. I got me. But
It's one of those cliche things where like people tell you like if you want to be in a better mood, you should work out and drink more water and pet dogs and hang out with people and like
and you should do all of that.
yeah, but I'm not gonna. I know. I should do all that stuff, but you're not making me, so I'm not gonna.
Did you ever go get a Planet Fitness? Like,
I had one for a while.
okay. See, this proves that at some point in your life you thought about it or tried to work out to like.
I was like 16, 17, and my stepdad at the time made the whole family sign up for like a family membership, and I went twice. And I had the membership for like 6 more months after that, and then I moved out. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
I don't like the just like lifting weights or like running on a treadmill or
treadmill is my least favorite thing in the world.
I mean, I would do it because I like running.
But a treadmill, I might enjoy.
Dude, a tread. I don't even want to try.
Dude,
I
it's
really
okay.
don't.
I shouldn't have done that.
I do this. Such an issue. And you know what's funny? I was making fun of one of my coworkers because she says cinnamon,
Oh yeah,
cinnamon, or something like that. See, it's hard for
cinnamon.
It-
Fuck.
Ah. So I sat there and taught her how to say it. I was like, think of it like sin men.
Yeah.
So SINAMEN. And I was like, just say it slow. I was like, sin. And she's like repeating it with me. Men. Sin. Men.
And then at the end, she's like, "Cool whip." You're like, "Damn it, start over."
She was like, sin. Men. Okay. Cinnamon. Fuck.
Yes, I love it.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, just keep going slow. Just practice slow. You'll get it. Here I am over here. Cinnamon, synonym. Yeah, see, I got it.
I'm gonna make my wife mad. Here it goes. When we first started dating, I used to pick on her really hard because I actually let it run for longer than I should have before
Listen,
correcting her.
If you don't, these are the small things about a relationship that make you feel like to your wife, she has to remember that you obviously really love her.
This is why I love her.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's the little shit like this that I'm like, you're so fucking cute. I love you.
Hell yeah. See, I knew it. Anyways.
So it was bad. We started dating in high school. So like, I don't know how long into the relationship she finally said the word laptop, and I heard her say it wrong. She said laptop, which I forgive her for thinking that's what it's called because like it's a computer lab that like you go use computers in.
Oh yeah.
And she just thought like it's a laptop, like it's a lab on top of your lap. And like
if you said it quick enough in the middle of a sentence, I probably wouldn't have noticed it.
Yeah, exactly. So like
to be honest,
the first time I ever noticed it, I was like, "The fuck did you just say?" She was like, "Laptop," and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna let that go for a while."
No, you didn't.
I just let her keep saying it wrong because I thought it was funny. And then one day I was like, "You know, it's laptop, right?" And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Cause it sits on your lap. It's a laptop."
Had she never seen it written?
I guess she's seen it. It's one of those things where like if you're not paying attention to it, she almost Mandela affected herself, where like everybody thought it was Berenstain Bears, but it's Berenstain, and it's always been Berenstain. You don't pay attention to it, so like when you see it finally pointed out, you're like, wait, what?
Oh, that's what they were talking about. I saw that shit and totally did not understand what was going on until you just now.
It's another one of my favorite conspiracy theories.
Because I get it now. I totally get it.
Yeah. Or like the little curly on the F in Ford. If you have never paid attention to the Ford logo that much, and then I just pointed out that there's a weird little curly Q on the F in Ford. If you Google image search that right now, you're gonna be like, wait, that's been there the whole time?
You know what? You intrigued my interest. So here we go. I'm gonna go Google Ford logo.
There's so many examples of this. That's just the first one that came off the top of my head.
Oh,
Why is there like, it looks like there's a Y in between the F and the O, or like there's an extra O. Fjord.
I mean,
Was that always there?
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was always there.
So this might not work on you, but this is one of those ones that people pointed out on the
It
internet.
might be working on me. Hold on. Because now I'm like, I mean, I've seen this logo my whole life. I am a Ford fan, so whoever wants to yell at me, whatever. I don't know, man.
It's called the Mandela effect because people thought that Nelson Mandela died in prison
And he didn't.
back in like 1990s or late 80s, and he didn't until like mid 2000s or like early 2000s. I forget when he died, but it was
It was
later in the 2000s.
Yeah, it was in the 2000s for sure.
Yeah, so when people found out he died, they were like, "Wait, I thought he was already dead. I thought he died in prison." So that's kind of where it got popular. People think that we split off into an alternate timeline. And
So did Tupac really die?
I mean,
Dun dun dun.
we would have to be going through so many splits for like silly little things like that to. Although I did we were talking earlier about how I think that USB ports do that. So
I mean, the conspiracies are endless.
they flip themselves no matter which way you're trying to plug something in.
And Tupac didn't really die.
Yeah, the USB thing proves it. It's a fucking smoking gun right there.
Oh, jeez. Man. You know what we didn't do?
I was thinking about that. I already know what you're going to say. And I was thinking about that. But it was one of those things where it's like, this will be fun to just see how far we can make it before we say anything about it.
I wonder if anybody knows like what we're even thinking about. You know, like should we address the elephant in the room?
I hope we're thinking about the same thing, but I think we are.
I mean, maybe, maybe not. If it involves taking your clothes off, no, you're not.
Oh, well, now I feel like we're way off on each other's because where did that come from?
I was thinking about like going on vacation. I really was.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the elephant in the room? Was that
Yeah.
we're going to take a vacation? We're 4 episodes in and you're like,
No,
see you guys.
what I had just like thought about real quick was being on vacation and like taking a microphone with me and like sitting somewhere like kind of on the beach and then like calling you and doing a fucking. That's what I was thinking about.
Oh,
and then I
okay.
was like, I'm gonna do it with the least amount of clothes as possible. Is what I'm gonna do. Okay.
Dude, I feel like you're stitching a story together backwards right now. Am I off base?
Maybe. Okay. Remember the whole like pissing yourself shit?
Yeah.
Okay. Same premise.
Oh, okay.
You start off and you kind of don't really know where you're going, and then you just go whatever direction you want to.
So where are you taking a vacation to?
Myrtle Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love Myrtle Beach. I've been there a few times.
Lucky you. Never
Yeah.
been. I've been to Daytona Beach, but
Never been there. So
Ooh.
fucking lucky you.
I mean, it's all right, I guess.
It's Florida, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but Myrtle Beach is South Carolina?
Yes.
North Carolina?
Oh, it's one of the Carolinas.
One of the Carolinas. Yeah, we're going for our honeymoon, kind
Oh.
of. Yeah, it will be our honeymoon, because we'll get married on 4/20,
Dope.
and then literally the next day we go to Myrtle Beach.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. And
Yeah.
I was just thinking about doing a podcast with the least amount of clothes as possible, and it being warm and nice and sunny, and I just need that in my life. I need it to be nice and sunny. I'm tired of the cold. So
Yeah.
tired.
I agree. It it teased us the other day too. We got up to like 50 something.
Yeah,
and then the next
man.
day it went back down to like 30.
Walked out at the house in a t-shirt, dude, and was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I got this shit today, man. Whatever's getting thrown in my way, I got it. Cool, ready to go." Walked out the next morning, was like, I don't want to be out here. I don't want to do anything. I want to go back into my bed where I was nice and warm and just lay there all day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't wait for the warm weather, man.
Warm weather and blue skies.
Oh.
From the basement.
Hey, that was perfect. Welcome, everybody. I'm
Hey.
Austin. You know who that guy is.
Of course, but I'll introduce myself anyway. I'm Wes.
Oh, shit. We changed it up on y'all. Didn't know that was happening.
That was fun.
Nah.
I like not introducing the show.
All right, so what are you drinking on today?
I picked this up before I came over here. It's a local brewery, Columbus Brewing Company. Fool's Gold. It's a dry hopped golden ale. It's like 5% almost, 4.7. I wanted something light while we were doing the podcast.
I went the opposite direction.
Yeah, you got that wicked.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went with the Reds Wicked. I was trying to get it's almost like a little energy while you're drinking too.
I broke one of our rules, and I had a glass of wine before I came over here.
Son of a bitch.
Well, okay, so I'm going to piss my wife off again. She does not want me to talk about her on the show, but I can't fucking help myself.
No, you can't. No, no you can't.
Eventually, it's going to cause a problem. But before I came over here, she was trying to drink a glass of Riesling wine, and she's experimenting. She's not a huge wine person, but she's recently found a couple that she likes. So she was trying this new one that she bought that was like fancy looking, a little more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up not liking it, so she's like, I'll chop up some strawberries and put it in there, and that'll make it better. And she did that, but she like blended up the strawberries in a blender and then put them in there, so there was like a puree in her wine. They made like a wine strawberry smoothie, but it ended up just tasting like nail polish remover and strawberries, and it was like chunky. And so I drank that because she didn't like it. I was like, you ruined a perfectly good glass of wine with these perfectly good strawberries that you also ruined.
Man, I used to not like strawberries.
This is gonna sound strawberry elitist, but I don't understand people who don't like strawberry. It's my favorite fruit.
Can I be completely honest with you? I'm not a big
I guess it's not a fruit, it's a berry. Sorry.
berry, fruit, or vegetable person. Except for bananas. Bananas are the only thing that, like, I can eat that shit all day, every day. I don't care. I love bananas. Like, the only smoothie I've ever had from Smoothie King is a banana boat.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the only one. Because the moment I saw it, I was like, that's what I want. That's what I'm getting. And, like, Honesty got stuff for us the other day. And that's what I got.
It's my favorite thing at Dairy Queen is banana split sundae. I'm such a child when I go to ice cream shops.
No,
I'm like,
no.
give me the banana split.
No, I don't think it's childish. I think it is smart. It's the way to go. Okay, I agree with you on that. Okay,
Smart people eat banana splits.
dude. Smart people eat bananas, man.
Smart people put bananas in them.
Protein
Is it a lot of protein?
and bananas.
Is there much protein in fruit in general? I feel like that's more like a meat product thing.
Kind of. There's different proteins though.
Yeah, I mean, things break down into proteins. This is I don't want to talk about this.
Moving on.
I was so bad at chemistry in high school.
Dude, that's so funny. I was literally just talking about this today. School for me, not a thing. No, I didn't like school. Still don't like school. The only thing that I liked about school was doing theater production and working in the theater for doing audio and helping out with the lighting and building sets and being at fucking school till midnight and then literally being back at school at 6 o'clock in the morning because we have another show at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it was so much fun to sit up in the booth and like see that was the only thing I liked about high school was really like the theater thing. Other than that, I like the people. I like the interactions that I had, but I hated school.
Yeah. I hated school too, and I hated pretty much everybody. And I hated the interactions that I had. I hated most of my teachers.
No shit.
I hated homework. I love learning. I like learning things. Like, I like finding stuff out and figuring out how things work. And I like chemistry, but I hated my teacher. I hated the homework. I would never do my homework, but then I would like take tests and pass them. I mean, sometimes I would get behind and not get good grades on my tests too. But for the most part, I passed all my classes just on tests alone, and they'd always be like, he'd get an A in the class if he just did his homework.
That was the same boat as me, man.
I didn't want to
Same boat.
participate at all. I was like, I hate this fucking place. Get me out of here.
See, I participated in class.
Mm.
That was the difference between me and you, was I actually was the person to like raise their hand. I was the first one to raise their hand because I was like, whatever you're trying to teach us, let's get through it.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what, like, I can learn this real quick. Just let's go. Come on. I got you. I can answer this shit. I can figure it out. Like, let's get through this stuff quick because then I can just sleep, if anything, or this gives me time to like talk about whatever I want to talk about with my classmates and stuff and hang out with my friends. So I participated in class. Like I would always get like when the teachers would give you the little messages on your report card or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, great to have in class, needs to work on homework. I'm like, yeah, I feel you, but no, I'm not. Once I left school, especially with me being somebody that participated in class, was always a person to raise their hand and answer questions and like read aloud, and like I participated in school. Out of school, I'm not in school. And I just didn't want to do, when I was the only person raising my hand, I didn't feel that it was necessary for me to go home and have to do the same stuff that I was literally just regurgitating to you the whole time.
Yeah. No, I agree with that part of it. Like, I think more just like the structure of how things done pissed me off, and I'm exaggerating my experience a little bit. Like, I had friends in high school, and I had people that I talked to and liked, and like lunchtime was fun because I kind of sat with like the comedians of the school, where like just the fucking goofballs and the outcasts. And it was a fun table to sit at.
I mean, that's where I sat at though. Still.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that part of it for sure. It's just more like math class specifically was one that like drove me nuts, because I I I don't have a problem with math. I can usually I'm pretty good at math, but I don't like doing it, and I would do things differently than we were like taught to do them. So, like they'd want us to be doing long division and showing our work, and I would do something completely different and and not show my work, and they're like, "You're cheating. You're using a calculator." And I was like, "No, here I did it this way." And
I feel it. I never liked to show my work. I hated it when teachers made you show your work because I did my stuff in my head anyways. Like,
yeah. And they hated when you said that too.
oh yeah.
Like, I do it in my head, and they're like, "Yeah, but I want to see how you did it." And then I'd show them how I did it, and they'd be like, "That's not how you were taught to do it." And I was like, "But I still got the right answer."
Um, the only issue with that is you might have found a separate way to do it, but that doesn't work all the time. But even then,
I get
the
right answers
same
on different
the
problems,
the
though.
same rule applies for other situations too. So that
And they've completely changed a lot of how we've learned math, and they're teaching it a completely different way now. Like,
oh yeah, I know.
my ex roommate
No.
has an 11-year-old, and watching her struggle to do his math homework with him was mind-numbingly awful to watch. Like, because she'd get to the point where she's like, I don't fucking know anything anymore.
No, you just don't know how they're teaching math
Yeah,
now.
it makes no sense.
It's so much more complicated.
Yeah.
So much more complicated than the way that we learn. But then again,
It might be a better way to learn it in the end, because you understand exactly what's happening in each equation. Because, like, there were certain equations in math where you're like, why does that work the way it works? You don't understand the individual mechanisms of how it got there. So, like, maybe it's a better tool for that.
see, that's what I was saying with the before,
Yeah.
where you might think that the way that we learned was the best way to learn because we got the majority of the time correct answers.
Yeah.
But then you find out that this way was better and you get even more correct answers using this method.
You remember PEMDAS?
Yeah, no, fuck yeah, I definitely remember PEMDAS.
Order of operations and all that shit.
Parentheses.
Exponents?
Thank you. Multiplication, division, addition, subtraction.
Yeah.
Is the way to go about any problem.
Yeah. But I don't think they're teaching that anymore either. Which I'm not saying like we learned the best way. I'm just saying in relation to my experience in school and specifically math class, like I understood PEMDAS and order of operations and how to get through an equation and to the end of it. It's just like, so once you know the steps and you've done it enough, you can take shortcuts, and they didn't like that I was taking shortcuts.
Oh, I hated that so much.
Yeah.
So much. Like, why? That was one of the things I did. It's, they want you to ingest the information and then repeat it out.
Yeah.
Ingest the information and then repeat it out.
That's how all of school is structured, and that's what I didn't like.
But when you understand completely what's happening, even then, and then you find those shortcuts and stuff like that, and you can get those answers so much quicker. Why would you take more time to sit out and write this out when you already?
I feel like that should make the teacher happier too. Like when they see a student who's caught on like that, that should be like to them like, oh, I've succeeded in teaching the concept to that student. They get it well enough that they're taking shortcuts now. Like they understand how to get there in the end.
They need to be
so
more
well.
challenged.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what.
You shouldn't be punished for that shit. You should be like, oh, you get it, so let me teach you the next thing.
So what my fiance said was that I wasn't being challenged enough. That's why I didn't like school.
Yeah.
And I feel that. I do. I feel it, but then again, I don't, because I had other interests. I knew that I'm never going to use chemistry a day in my life. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. I didn't like it, and I'm not going to do it. Like, if anything, if we ever have a situation where chemistry would come into play, I'm still going to hire somebody that actually knows really what they're doing and let it go from there. I'm not going to try and do it myself.
Yeah.
If I can explode something and die. You know, like, that's what I'm talking about, chemistry-wise. Like, if we ever put on a Broadway show, you know, and there's, like, flames and, you know, sparklers and an explosion and all that other stuff, I'm going to let professionals take care of that.
Yeah. That's what happened to Michael Jackson. I bring that up because he's been he's been on my mind a lot lately, but, like, that's, like, what started the whole plastic surgery thing, and, like, he was in a stage accident where he like caught on fire.
Mm-hmm. His hair caught on fire.
Yeah, it was a pyrotechnics accident, and
yep,
a lot of people think that's like what started the whole process of him changing his facial features and skin tone and everything. Yeah, but have you seen any of that documentary yet?
Oh,
it's
no,
fucking 4 hours, man.
I don't have the time. I really don't.
I've listened to a couple podcasts about it, and I don't know if I want to watch it because last podcast on the left did an episode about it very recently.
I haven't been able. I know what you're talking about, and I haven't been able to listen to all of it yet.
Yeah, and they get into it, and it's pretty fucking dark. It's like if you've seen any of the R. Kelly stuff, but maybe even more like methodical and planned out and like evil.
Well, they had talked about like Neverland Ranch and stuff on some of their other episodes. Like maybe it was that.
No, they were like speculating because there have been like raids. Like I'm pretty sure the FBI searched the Neverland Ranch at some point back in the early 2000s or late 90s because there was allegations of him having child porn on the premises. So they're trying to find that, and they didn't find anything. So
I mean, they also said that he was like really smart about it. That would like
that. Yeah, that's part of the new documentary is how methodical he was, and like he would separate out the dad and like distance the dad from the child. And a lot of the times it was like these rich parents and like kind of an effeminate kid to begin with. Like he was into little boys, so it'd be kind of like an effeminate boy that was into theater and stuff. The rich dad would already be kind of like, yeah, go hang out with Michael Jackson because this seems like you're laying anyway. And then the mom would be kind of complacent in it, where like she would turn a blind eye to what was going on
because your child's hanging out with Michael Jackson,
the most famous person in the world at the time, like still to this day, like the king of pop.
Everybody knows who Michael Jackson is.
Yeah, and there's even like a huge debate, like cancel culture debate going on, where they're like, can we separate Michael Jackson from his music? Can we still listen to Thriller and that be okay? Or like
same thing with R. Kelly.
Yeah, yeah. So I haven't watched it yet, but I've listened to a few podcasts, and that shit is dark. I don't want to watch it. My kids are too young. for me to watch shit like that.
Remember this. Learn from other people's mistakes. Okay? All right?
Where are you going with this?
Don't. If you haven't done anything bad in your life right now, don't do anything bad. Is what I'm telling you, okay?
Okay,
Because
but
we
we're
want to
talking.
go. We want to go places with this. I've got a huge amount of ideas that I want to go with this podcast and everything that's going to be involved with this podcast. Okay, just don't do anything like these people. Okay, that's. I'm not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. We'll be fine. All right, we'll just
You didn't
live.
have to tell me to not
I
sexually
know.
assault like 52 women and keep them chained up in the basement, or
That wasn't. I wasn't going that far. Okay,
you
that's
didn't have to
not,
tell
but
me to not be a kitty diddler. Like
even to the point where you're like you saw somebody drop $20, and you like run over and pick it up, and then you contemplate like, should I just keep it or should I give it to him? You'll give it to him because you're like, oh, no.
No, I'm keeping it.
No.
I'll tell you why. When I was 7. Fucking no, this hits hard. This hurt me when I was a
Oh,
child.
Jesus Christ. Here we go.
When I was 7, we went to Disneyland in California for the first time.
Why is everybody else been to fucking Disneyland but me?
Dude, I'll take you. We can go to Disneyland
Dude.
together.
Just me and you?
That would be kind of fun, actually.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I don't. Please, yes.
Yeah.
Take me to Disneyland. Somebody take me to fucking Disneyland. I've never been.
So when you first get to Disneyland, you're kind of like strolling through like Toontown, kind of, and like your locker is inside of Toontown,
Dope.
and like
Toontown the game?
kind of there's like a Disney character town that like you walk into, like Disney Village when you get there. And okay, so I'm 7, first time at Disneyland, complete awe. There's giant, like, in the movies where like I think they do it in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they have like one of those giant fucking paintings that are like building sized, and it looks like a backdrop. Like the street keeps going on forever, but it's actually just a big wall with something
Yeah.
painted on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have that where like even you get up close to it, it still looks kind of like from a distance it looks like the street just goes on for fucking ever, and then you get up close to it and it's like, oh, this is a giant painting.
Whoa.
Yeah, so as a 7-year-old, it's just blowing my fucking mind. Like, and there's like Disney characters walking around everywhere. I'm just looking every direction in complete childhood awe of the world, and nothing could take that from me at that moment. And then I see, on top of all this, I see a $20 bill on the ground. So like, there's hundreds of thousands of people walking around. Like, it's busy as fuck at Disneyland all the time. There's so many people there, and there's a $20 bill on the sidewalk. 7-year-old me is like, fuck yeah, I'm with my grandpa and my mom. My grandpa knows what's happening, but still urges me on. He sees it first and goes, hey, look, bud, go grab that. The motherfucker. So I'm so excited. I'm like, as a 7-year-old, when you like get money and even like a dollar bill or like
No
a
matter
$5
what,
bill, you're
dude,
like so
somebody
excited.
handed me 25 cents. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get some bubble gum.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
You.
You're
like,
so
bet.
fucking
I got
pumped.
this. Yeah.
I'm gonna go find one of those fucking quarter bubblegum machines somewhere. Like,
Yeah, Golden Corral, bro.
yeah, exactly.
Always on the exit of Golden Corral.
Yeah, mine was Toronto's Pizza Barn in Pickerington.
Dude, it's not there anymore.
I know, it's upsetting.
What is it now?
I don't know. I don't care enough.
I feel like it's still something that starts with a T,
uh,
and it stresses me out.
that and the barn next door being like
That's
the
not
Blue
even-
Monkey.
Whatever the fuck that shit is.
Fuck that place.
We should go there sometime, though.
We should go check it out.
Yeah.
We might end up loving it and then hating ourselves for it.
I mean, we could go in there. We could go in there and be like, tell them who we are, and they might give us like a full tour of.
Maybe
their
they'll give us
place.
the building back. Like, you guys are the rightful owners. You can
Yeah.
have it.
They're like, we want to move on to somewhere else. Like, you guys can have this. Whoa, dude! Could you imagine if we had that place as like, we do the podcast up in the loft, and then like everything else. Oh, don't. Anyways,
There's so much like property debt on that lot. Like, we'd have to pay so many hundreds of thousands of dollars to.
I mean,
The bank owns it, basically.
yeah, but if we were to buy it, we would only be helping out with their debt.
Yeah, but we'd be liable to the bank. This is boring. But yeah,
Moving on.
yeah. So I'm so excited. Like, I've never had $20 in my little 7-year-old fingers before.
Yeah.
Up to that point, like the most money I'd ever been given, like that I could hold, was like a $10 bill. This is double that. I'm like, ah! And nobody's picked it up. It's like just there for me. It feels like everything's lined up for this moment, and the universe wants 7-year-old me to win. It's like, this is for you, bud. So even my grandpa is like, go after it, bud. So I pitter patter up to the little fucking $20 bill on the ground, and it bounces away from me.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Right as I'm about to grab it. Now, I've never seen this trick before at that age.
Oh, of course not. No.
So I was like, the wind got it? All of us, like, there was no, like.
I'm going back for it.
So I try again. Same thing happens, obviously. Like, everybody knows what's going on at this point. Most of you guessed what was going to happen to me. I go for it for a third time. Like, my grandpa's laughing behind me, and I kind of feel like I'm being tricked, but I'm still like, it's there. Like, I can get this.
There's $20. I can get there.
Yeah. So I go for it for the third time, and by the time that like I'm reaching to grab it, it's at the dude who's got like the fishing line on the reel, and I'm staring at his tennis shoes in front of me.
Does he just look at you and go, "You gotta be quicker than that"?
I don't remember what he said, but I remember having one of those like cartoon moments where you just slowly look up at the looming figure in front of you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
just toed ahead, just, oh, fuck. And then I realized I'd been got, and it almost ruined the rest of the day for me. Like, I couldn't let it go. Like, I had magic ripped away from me. Like, I had just been introduced to this wonderful world, and then this fucking shithead destroyed it. Ripped it away from me, and I couldn't enjoy it after that. Maybe I was a little spoiled, but I probably ended up having a good time. But that's always fucking stuck with me. Where like I don't trust money on the ground anymore.
No shit.
Ever. I'm like, I might just leave that shit.
Yeah.
There could be $100 bill on the ground. I'm like, I'm not falling for that shit again,
Dude, because it's one of those fucking like church little notes. You ever seen those?
Church notes?
Yeah, it's like, well, like,
oh,
it's like a fake
I know what
$100
you're
bill.
talking- Yeah, and then it's got
like,
scripture on the other side.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, come to such and such church or whatever. So yeah,
Nothing against religion. That shit makes me so angry.
no, that's pretty messed up. I'll be real with you. That's pretty messed up because you're really pulling on somebody's strings, especially somebody that like, if they're really looking for like a pick me up, and if there's somebody like me or you that just that's not for us, you know, and then they pick that up, you're really just gonna piss somebody off. Like,
Yeah.
you're really playing on, I guess it is still like that 50-50 where you could reach out to people that are like looking for, you know, a pick me up or, you know, something to believe in, and they
Ugh.
pick this up and they're like, oh yeah, maybe I should go there. But no, if I'm like, oh shit, there's $100 on the bill, and pick that up and see that, I'm gonna rip it into four,
Yeah,
and then
the problem
it
is
away.
like it's kind of predatory because like the church is preying on people's desire for money, and then they're saying like come to the church, but then also like the church understands that people have a desire for money, and there's kind of like
But then they
within the
ask
church
for money.
there's like an evilness to like money is the root of all evil, kind of like ideology within some churches. So then to like use money to entrap people to come to your church and then ask for donations all feels like a fucked up process to me.
They ask for money
Yeah.
and then do this. No, not all churches
No.
do this, but it has been done before.
It feels like a scam tactic, you know?
Oh, definitely.
What? Yeah. So, if somebody dropped $20,
You're not gonna pick it up.
I might not even pick it up. I'm definitely not giving it back to him. That's for 7-year-old me. I'm gonna
Okay.
pocket that shit and be like, "There's that 20 that was taken from me."
What about if
from all
this
those years ago?
was for my childhood?
Yeah, the universe is
y'all.
paying me back finally.
Heard that. Okay, all right, fair enough. What if somebody drops their wallet?
Okay, I'll give it back.
All right, cool.
If it's a $20 bill specifically, like the first time that this happens to me, I'll only ever do it once, but I'm keeping that 20.
So it hasn't happened since
No, it hasn't
then.
happened yet. I haven't
Oh.
found a 20 on the ground since I was 7.
Dude, I do know somebody that finds things on the ground so often. It's ridiculous. And I mean, they walk a lot of places, or they have walked a lot of places, like in the past. And I I get it. You're gonna find things, but they were too lucky. It was almost like, are you sure you didn't go and buy that? There's no way you found that.
Yeah.
There's just no. But then there was one instance where we found some weed on the ground,
Oh
on the
yeah.
side of the road. Just we were walking to Steak and Shake to get some food, and saw the bag, and he was like, "Oh, is that some weed?" And I was like, "Nah, that ain't some weed, nah." I was like, "That's just some guts, you know." When people be in their car trying to roll a blunt, they empty the guts out into the baggie that they got their weed into,
Yeah.
and then just throw it out the window.
That's how you know somebody's been smoking in the area. Is you just see a pile of tobacco on the ground.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So that's what I initially thought it was just a bag of blunt guts,
Yeah.
and sure enough, it was a bag of weed. But it was raining and it was all wet and
Damn.
soggy, so I went home with that bag of weed, put it underneath of a lamp
Wait for that shit
overnight.
to dry out.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I put it they had a lamp for the animals that they had, so I I just put the weed underneath the lamp overnight, and then smoked all of it the next day.
Hell yeah.
With a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. I was like, I don't really care about this weed. I don't really know if it's gonna get you high. I don't know what's gonna happen because it's been wet. Does do the crystals fall off, or does it lose its potency
I
if it
think
gets wet?
some of them wash off. Yeah.
I would assume so. Yeah. I mean, even if you touch really crystallized weed, it comes off on your fingertips.
Yeah.
So, but is it all gone? Can you dry it out and still get high? I mean, I would like to think that I got high from that.
I gotta pee really bad. Can we
I'm-
take a break?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Sorry.
What's up, you guys? Austin here, joining me as always.
Here's Wes. Hi guys.
Hey, if you guys are enjoying the episode, go follow us on our Instagram at blueskiespod. We post pictures, about the episodes, or maybe just some funny pictures that we find on the internet.
You can check out our Facebook too. We've got a Facebook page. It's Blue Skies from the Basement on Facebook, and we've got some good discussions going on over there.
Oh, a
And
lot of people
also-
commenting over there.
Yeah. There's been some interesting debate recently, but we've got episode release information in there and updates on the show. So check that out as well.
There's also a link on the Facebook to our email where you can just hit a button and it'll take you to a page to send us an email at our at blueskiespodcast@gmail.com. So that's another way that you can reach us, tell us stories, give us topics to talk about, comment about the podcast, anything you want to do.
Yeah, if you guys want to call in, we have a new voicemail line. You
Oh.
can leave a message at 614-600-2056 and leave us a voicemail. And if it's good enough or funny enough, we might even play it on the show.
Ooh, there you go. Get yourself on the show.
Yeah.
Make sure that if you really want to be involved and you really want to be a part of our podcast, follow us on our home, platform, and that's Podbean. So if you just download, they've got an app, or you can search it on the web and look us up on Podbean. You can comment, you can follow us on there.
Yeah. We're blueskiesfromthebasement.podbean.com. That's the home site where you can also leave comments. We've got a bunch of early listeners threw some comments up on there.
Yeah.
Join in with them.
Also, we do have one Apple review.
Oh yeah, we got the one. It's
We got
all
the
lonely
one.
by itself,
We
just
got the-
sitting there.
We got the one. We are still rated 5 stars on Apple. But you guys can listen to us on Apple, on Podbean. You can listen to us on Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, Himalaya. Anything that you guys listen to, you can find us on.
All the apps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you do listen to us on Apple, make sure to leave a review. Give us 5 stars. Really helps us out.
Yeah, that probably helps us out the most. Just lets people know that we're legit and that people are listening to us.
Yeah.
So get us higher up on those iTunes charts.
Also, word of mouth. It's better for you to go and tell your friends about us. Let us into your friends' minds. I just want to squiggle my way into your little friends' minds and just try and get a little dabble of what they're thinking.
We're gonna make a nest in there.
Oh, I'm gonna make a nest in your friends' minds. And they're gonna love it.
We're gonna have snacks in your friend's
Oh, you're gonna be able to munch on them too.
Definitely tell a friend. We appreciate it, you guys.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right, guys, we're back. I'm sorry about that. It was literally like pee coming out of my ears. Like I came out of nowhere. Like it felt like just pens and needles at the tip of my penis, and I had to go right then.
So would there be a different sound instead of the like when you gotta pee? You know, would there be like just like a high pitched noise that just like annoys the crap out of you? Yeah. That's how when you know you gotta pee. If you just hear that.
Just it's not laughing anymore. It's like in pain down there.
Yeah.
Like a fucking mini me from Austin Powers. He doesn't talk for most of it. He just Holy shit! It is a mini me down there though.
I'm laughing too hard. I can't talk. But that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like I didn't know if that was a pun intended or not. But
no, it hit me after I said it. I was like, "Oh, that works actually."
I have such a horrible like laugh because I don't laugh at all. I just breathe in really deeply. I don't really make any noises when I.
Yeah, you either do your inhale squeal, which I cut out for the intro of the last episode that we released because I really liked it. Where you, or I can't do it, but because my voice cuts out completely. But you just inhale real hard. I love it.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Me thinking about how I laugh just made me laugh even harder.
Did you? Speaking of like mini me's, did you see the Andrew Schultz episode of Rogan's podcast?
No.
Where he was. I don't know how they got onto this tangent. Oh, they were talking about female bodybuilders and how they'll take like testosterone, and then their clit will grow because of that.
No.
And
shit.
they pulled up a Google image search of enlarged clitoris, and the Andrew Schultz, the way he goes off on it. Some people might view it as problematic, but it's really funny. Like, you should just watch the clip. There's like a 10-minute clip on YouTube of them reacting to it. It's,
Heard.
And then also, they don't show it because YouTube would have shut down their stream.
Oh, yeah.
But as I was listening to it, I had to Google it. Don't Google it.
What was like the...
Some of them look like there's a penis on top of like that you'd have to like move out of the way to insert.
Nah, see, nope. You done fucked up.
It's crazy how much it just looks like a skinned penis.
You done fucked up. What exactly did they Google?
Oh, I don't know, because they don't show Jamie Googling like the exact phrase, and he doesn't say what he Googled, but I Googled enlarged clitoris because that's what Joe told Jamie to Google.
So that's probably what he Googled was enlarged.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I Googled, and...
Oh, look at that. I put in Google, and it says enlarged clip art.
You don't Google enough dirty shit.
And then...
Google doesn't
No,
think...
oh, wait. And then Google was listening to us, and so now it says enlarged clitoris from testosterone pellets.
Oh. Well, I mean, I'm sure that's what, like, the majority of the cases of enlarged clitori is caused by. Is that the plural of clitoris and clitori? Cliterati?
Clitorises. I don't see any photos of it actually.
Oh, do you have safe search on?
On
your image search? You have to it comes...
Is it like in the settings?
Yeah, so safe search is automatically turned on for most Google searches and your image searches, and you have to turn that off. Are you using Chrome?
No, it says turn on safe search, and it's not on.
Oh, that's weird because I typed in enlarged clitoris and just got like
maybe
picture
if I
after
take out
awful.
the whole testosterone pellets.
Oh yeah, don't.
We'll just do enlarged clitoris.
Yeah, and then click on the image search.
It does look like there's a penis.
I told you, it looks like a little skinned penis, like it like the fleshy bits without the skin.
Whoa.
There's some crazy
Whoa.
pictures in there, man. I
That one
recommend
doesn't look
not
too
doing
bad.
this. Like, I know it's tempting when you hear somebody say,
Oh,
don't
the
Google.
moment that you said it, I definitely had to Google it.
For the people listening, like,
There's like a
you're
carrot
not
that
going to
looks
like
like
it.
an enlarged clitoris. Somebody took a picture of a carrot that when you are looking for an enlarged clitoris, it reminds you of an enlarged clitoris.
Damn
If
it.
you had no prior knowledge of this, you'd be like, why does this, like, this just looks like a penis.
Some of them are like pinky length. Like, it's.
Okay, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm out
I
of
told
here.
you.
I'm done.
I said nothing good was going to come from
I'm
it.
Googling that.
I.
Thanks for that, by the way.
You're welcome. I mean,
The mental images that you, or the things that I end up looking up because of what you talk about is a little unsettling for me because we've gone from, what was it, prolapsed anuses.
yeah, we got some negative comments about that.
Oh, well, don't Google it.
I'm sorry. That's my sense of humor, guys. Like, I I'm intrigued by that type of stuff, and if it displeases you, I apologize. But I'm just trying to bring like some lightheartedness to some fucked up medical situations. Like,
I mean, this is something that could happen to maybe not everybody, but it could happen to somebody that you know.
take care of your butthole and your insides, or that's just gonna fall out.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, that goes for anything. I mean,
Take care of yourself.
yeah. Back to this rule about taking care of yourself. Okay, you need to take care of yourself.
But I'm not gonna.
All right. Moving on
Yeah.
from you not taking care of yourself and still not going to the doctor for that.
It's gone, dude.
Oh, okay.
It'll
Fair
come
enough.
back.
Hopefully not. Into our next subject. I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast with Jack Dorsey and Tim Pool and
Vidya. I don't know how
Vidya.
to pronounce her last name.
No,
I
I
don't
don't.
want to butcher it.
I don't remember how to. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Joe didn't even want to do it. He's like, how do you say it?
I'd feel bad trying.
Yeah, but Vidya, and I think I enjoyed her the most. Honestly,
She was the most level-headed.
she reminded me of you in the way that she responded and was really level-headed. Was how I was immediately reminded of you and how you talk.
I was a little annoyed by it.
Which is funny, which is hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
So are you immediately? I could feel like Joe even points it out. He's like, "There's a lot of tension now." At the moment that they start the podcast, so like everybody was cool, but the moment that they sat down in front of the microphones and started talking and recording, that there was this tension in the room, and it was from what I felt like Tim had this point of view, and he's just so far into that point of view and so far like about that he wasn't trying to listen really to anything that they were saying. A lot of the points that he brought up were good points, and a lot of the people that he brought up were some good people to bring up, but the reason why Twitter banned them was for the harassment. And then he wants to bring up the laws about, like, Twitter doesn't follow the US laws about free speech. And that's not true. Because if you go onto Twitter and you say that, I don't agree with gay people, you can do that all you want because it's a generalized, viewpoint. You're not. The whole point was these people attacked. With every instance that they brought up, most of these people attacked a specific person, and that's what goes against their guidelines. Is you can't attack a specific person for whatever. It's harassment.
Yeah, and you get warnings too. So the people who were doing this were warned at least twice before they were suspended or booted off of Twitter altogether.
Permanently banned.
Yeah.
So that's where every single point that Tim would bring up, I almost didn't even want to listen to it because Vijay even had some of these examples where it was like they targeted a specific person and was harassing them, and that's why we had to take them down. It wasn't for, she even said, like, I don't look at people's political views. Most of these people I don't even know. we have so many people that get reported. Most of these people I don't even know, and I don't know what their political views are, and I don't care.
A lot of them are an automated process too, where a system flags it,
Oh, it's
and
all an algorithm.
yeah,
Yeah. But again, my whole point is that Twitter is looking at you specifically harassing a specific person. If you get into an argument with somebody on Twitter and you guys are going back and forth, you can't specifically call them out and harass them and call them names or dock them or incite violence upon them. So that's what all these people were doing that were banned, that were on the conservative right side. And he was saying, that means that your platform is the left. It's all liberal. And what, like, has he looked up the other side? Like, have people on the left been banned?
they have, and he has. I think he knows of cases where the people on the left have been banned for saying extreme things, but that's the one part of Tim's argument where I think he's making the best point there, is that Jack and Vidya were reluctant to admit that because of the region that they're in, the culture that they're in, and the industry that they're in, that a lot of the people do have a left-leaning bias, and they try not to have a bias as a company, but I think some of it leaks through in the way that they write these rules and the way they write their algorithms. But there's been plenty of cases of people on the left saying equally offensive and outrageous things that haven't been banned or haven't been suspended. So I think he kind of has a point there. I'd like to see the actual numbers of right versus left bans.
Same.
But I kind of want to break down like each person's, kind of like give a brief where they're coming from. I think Tim is the most interesting of the people involved in the conversation.
He also seems the most aggressive too.
Uh,
With the conversation, he was definitely like,
he gets the most heated, and he's definitely more passionate about the topic than anybody else.
yeah, and for his views, he should be. Like
Yeah.
that's exactly how I would perceive somebody that has his viewpoints would act. Is he's extremely concerned, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like I totally understand that, and that you feel that this is something that is extremely important, and I totally agree with you. But then also, the aggressiveness was what I didn't necessarily agree with.
Yeah, it's hard to agree with him on a lot of his points because of the way he's coming at it. So to clarify for our listeners, if you guys haven't seen it, or just at least my take on Tim, is that he's the reason there's a lot of miscommunication and them talking past each other, and Tim continuing to make the same point in different ways the whole time and not really listening. It's because he's got like this 10, 20, maybe even 50 years down the line perspective on the issue, where he thinks Twitter, Facebook, and all these online social media companies are a bad thing overall for society in the end. He thinks that really no matter how Twitter or Facebook go about moderating conversations, that they're going to fuck it up no matter what. And there's no good way to write these rules that satisfies everybody. So it's an overall bad for society because it's going to lead to these bubbles that people get in where it's like an echo chamber of just bouncing back the same beliefs that you already believe in. You never hear anything that you disagree with, or if you do, it's from the perspective that it's shouting it down.
And they even said that is true, that they have created these bubbles.
Yeah, he's just got a very doomsday kind of perspective on it, where he thinks it's going to tear apart our democracy.
Well, he's also saying that it involves like elections and that it persuades elections and stuff like that, and that's where I'm also, how much does Twitter persuade elections? It's weird because
Twitter's just a platform.
I'm
That's
not
the
a
thing.
part of Twitter. I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't check Twitter. I'm not on there, so I have no idea like really what's going on with Twitter.
I enjoy checking out the hot tea on Twitter, but I don't have my own account. Like I enjoy checking out the societal drama and conversations that happen. Out of the places on the internet that are the most toxic, it's like Facebook and then Twitter. And then like YouTube, closely following both of them. Like YouTube comment section might actually be the worst. But Twitter, it's definitely an echo chamber and a lot of like large accounts are left leaning. Like you'll see joke accounts or meme accounts that are making jokes from the perspective of the left. and those are the most popular accounts on Twitter. So I see where Tim's coming from. And then with Vidya and Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, they're both coming more from like a methodical case by case. These are the numbers we have. These are the cases we've fought. Not fought, but we've dealt with. So like when they bring out people like Alex Jones or Milo Yiannopoulos or I don't remember the other names, but even some of the less clear cases of like Alex Jones was definitely I, I I think he should have been banned from Twitter for the things that he said on there and was warned about. And same with Milo Yiannopoulos. Do you know anything about Milo? Like, what's your opinion on him?
Only from what I heard in the podcast.
Okay, did you ever watch him on Joe's podcast? He's been on like 2 or 3 times.
No, I don't think so.
He's an interesting character. I disagree with almost everything he says, but he's doing it as kind of like a performance. Like,
Isn't that what Joe said too?
yeah, it's satire. It's right on the line though. It's one of those things where he might believe half of what he's saying and all of what he's saying is messed up. So, he might not be the greatest guy, but he's doing it as kind of like he's pointing out that he's not a great guy and that's the humor in it type thing. So, him getting banned from Twitter, Tim Pool's point on that was like, this guy is fucking around, like it's a joke. And Vidya's point was, yeah, but he said these things about Leslie Jones, the actress in Ghostbusters.
Specific person. It
Yeah.
was targeted.
And people who followed him started targeting her after that as well. So he's a massive influencer on the platform, and he's saying these things directly to this person. And then a bunch of violence and threats are directed at her after that. So yeah, he deserves the ban.
That with a lot of the examples that Tim brings up, this is what happens.
Vidya breaks them all down, one by one, point by point.
Some of them, not all of them, because she doesn't have. There is a few that she doesn't have the tweets, but there was a few that she was prepared for, like Alex Jones. She had the specific tweets that led up to him being, banned off of Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that coming too. Like, I feel like there's people who love Alex Jones and also believe the things that he said. You can't trust that. I love the guy, but you can't trust a single fucking thing that Alex Jones says. Like, he's probably my favorite conspiracy theorist. But when he says, like, I didn't say those things about the parents or the children of Sandy Hook, I didn't say those things on Twitter, I didn't tell anybody to go there. He did, and multiple times, and on video, and on recording, and you can go back and watch or listen to it. And Vidya had the tweets.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim arguing those points kind of made him look silly.
Well, that's where I was. Again, my whole issue with this was that Tim was too aggressive, I feel like. And then also, a lot of the people that he brought up was the examples that he tried to bring up. They specifically targeted one simple person. And he was like, well, you're silencing them. Like, you're not allowing them to have free speech, and you're not following, like, the laws under the U.S. And they're like, we don't follow the laws that are specifically for the U.S. We follow more laws with the UN, which is more of a global.
Tim making that point was the one that confused. Thought that was his weakest argument.
Definitely.
Like, why don't you follow U.S. laws and regulations? It's like they're an international company. They might be U.S. based, but they don't have to do that.
Yeah. And again, with a lot of these, like, at no point did they, what really kind of baffles me was that neither Vidya or Jack, like, kind of pointed out that this was his viewpoint, that he was mad about people being banned, but it was about them specifically targeting somebody and inciting violence or harassing somebody. And then at one point he was like, we don't have laws like that in the US. And I'm like, yes, we do. We have harassment laws. Like, if I can be out in public and shout whatever I want to shout, but when I start specifically attacking one person and harassing them, that person can end up getting a restraining order against me or taking some court action about, like, harassment and attacking them or anything like that. Like, there are laws in place about harassment. So that is in the U.S. law. I can, if you were to sit there and text me and call me every single day to where it impacted my life. And I went to the police and told them about this. And then it just continued to happen after I told you to stop texting me or calling me or saying things about me that would make it so other people end up messaging me and saying all these mean things about me and all this other stuff. That is harassment. We have laws on that already.
Yeah.
So for him to say that, it was one of his weakest arguments that I felt. And also his viewpoint on everything was that they were banning specifically because of their political views or what they were saying. And that's not it. What the problem was is that they were attacking people. They need to learn that if you're on a global platform, that you have to speak a certain way. If you don't want to get banned, especially if you're a high profile figure, if you're somebody that has thousands of followers, millions of followers, you have to watch the way that you talk. That's why I hate the president having a Twitter, because he
Yeah.
doesn't fucking watch the way that he talks. He just talks however he wants to. And are they going to ban the president from Twitter? Can they
No.
do that? No, because they haven't done it already because he said all this crazy shit.
It would kind of cause like, I'm sure there would be some sort of national uproar or even like a court case about that, because like removing the president's ability to talk direct, that's kind of like what
now-
Trump's reason has been for doing this, is like, I want to speak directly to the people.
But then Tim brings up a good point about other people being banned off of Twitter when Trump uses Twitter. So now you're telling me that I cannot see what the president is putting out on Twitter.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting point too.
So if Trump can't be banned off of Twitter, then why should I, regardless of what I say?
That's kind of a weird question. It gets into I mean, there's influencers on platforms, but then there's also influencers in society, and president is chief influencer. I mean, maybe not in all cases. Like, he's not influencing our culture in the sense
in a
of
way
like,
that he is.
he is influencing kind of like a national dialogue about who we are as Americans and what's okay to get away with. So I
feel
think
like we're a joke.
to a lot of other countries, yeah, probably, and to a lot of Americans now, I think like there's kind of a perspective like, I hate the country I live in. Like, maybe not even hate, but I'm disappointed in the country. I don't necessarily feel that way, but I'm disappointed in our president.
Do you feel like you I feel like you might kind of have the same view as me on this, is that we are part of that percentage of people where we just don't feel like we can do anything. We're kind of just sitting back and watching all of this happen. And we can sit here and talk about it and try and do what we can to change whatever it is that we don't agree with, but I don't feel like there's too much that I could do. And I want to maybe educate myself a little bit more on what I could possibly do and feel like I'm doing a little bit more than what I am.
You can do a lot on a local level.
And that's where I want to go with this whole podcast, is on a local level. So
Like,
hopefully
vote
that'll...
vote in your local elections. Learn what's being voted on. What are the issues that are gonna affect the people in your town?
My fiance was like, if you don't vote, you don't have any say in anything.
I kind of hate that. I mean, I keep saying hate, and hate's a really strong word. I apologize. I don't actually hate most things, but
I strongly dislike.
yeah, you guys know what I mean. I get
Fuck
like
that. Don't fucking try and not say hate because other people are... No.
well, we're
no.
trying to be positive here. I don't want to sound too negative.
I feel it, but don't also like...
Well, I kind of subscribe to the belief that like the way you talk about yourself and the way that you just communicate in general also informs your mood.
What you put out into the universe, you
So
get back.
yeah, I might end up actually hating things because I say that I hate it so often.
The universe doesn't hear all that other shit. All it hears is hate. Yeah, that's the way to think, is that,
Yeah.
you know, like if I say, I don't want to die today, the universe is only going to hear die. But if I say, I want to live today, all the universe is going to hear is live. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
You got a good point there.
It's not magic. It's more just how you think about things really does influence how you hold yourself.
I mean, it trains your brain.
Yeah. So anyway, I do think like you can do a lot to change things locally. I'm not absolutely hopeless about my ability to like affect the way politics is going right now, but it just takes so much involvement and time to and also like dedication to get people behind you to create a movement,
Yeah.
like to create the kind of change that we would want right now. We need so many people and so much money behind us, and so many years in the game. So on that level, it is kind of hopeless for the average person, but that's where like spreading the ideas comes into play, and that's how things change slowly over time, is things become more acceptable or ideas get out to enough people over time.
Somebody, speaking of things that like become more acceptable, one of my coworkers asked me about should there be transgender people in the military? Should they allow?
Yeah, that was something kind of recently in the news too, where Trump was changing the laws on.
On all of that.
Yeah, there was
And
going to be a transgender ban in the military, but he backtracked on that after a couple days.
I really want to have this person on, because he has military experience. I don't know if you ever been on a military base.
No, but I have family that was in the military.
So do I, but I've never been in the military. I've never gone through boot camp. I've never really like. I mean, you kind of have a generalized view of what, but we've never experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
And so that's where I felt like, how can I really talk about this subject without having somebody who has had firsthand experience with everything? So definitely want to have him on before we go into stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I'd want to bring up the stuff that came out in the media after Trump had his tweets about the whole situation, because there was a backlash immediately after he announced it, and then a bunch of generals and people in the military came out and said this affects nothing. Like,
Yeah.
so there's people from the military, and large numbers came out and said this is crazy. Like, we shouldn't be banning transgender people because it doesn't change anything.
I mean, some of the points that we
I,
got to were,
yeah, I'd be curious to hear another side of it.
yeah, we agreed on a lot of things. I'm really excited to sit down and have this conversation though, because it is something that kind of plays into everything that we like talk about, and trying to be optimistic about things. I mean, if you're going to go into the military, you're going into it to focus on the military, and that's that. Bam. There's that solves the whole argument right there for me, at
I
least.
guess. I mean, I think there's transgender people who don't put all of their identity into the trans thing. I think that's kind of like the popular craze right now for that movement, is to identify wholly as I am 100% transgender. That's who I am. I think like there's people who,
Dude, I don't care.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. There's people who can set that aside and be in the military and put all of their effort into that and also be trans.
see, that's where I feel like if you're gonna go into the military and you're gonna protect, our country, and that's what you want to do, then that's what you're gonna do. There shouldn't be anything that gets in your way that stops you from doing that. There shouldn't be drama in your military. If you're gonna go into that and you're gonna do that, that's what you're gonna do. You're not gonna let, they, from what he said, and he, this was back in like 2009, I want to say.
Yeah.
They separate men and women in boot camp.
Yeah.
As to not, no guys have any eye candy to look
Removes
at.
distraction. You're supposed to be focusing on the task at hand.
I don't agree with that, because so now you're telling me that you shouldn't have any distractions and you should be focusing on this, but I'm going to take away that distraction. You should be able to do it while that distraction's there.
That's a good point.
Okay, so now I'm a guy that just went through boot camp, okay? And I, fresh out, and now I'm like out on the battle lines, and some sexy lady just walks out from the corner,
You
half
haven't seen
naked,
a woman.
and you haven't seen a woman in fucking months. Okay, maybe even years. You haven't seen a woman. You just been around men, sleeping around men. All you can think about is a fucking woman, and you're out in fucking war, and all of a sudden a sexy woman walks around the corner. What are you gonna do? You're
Like a
gonna
fucking music video. Like
you're
just
gonna drop your guard.
just a
Okay.
hot blonde with like wind blowing in her hair,
Yeah.
just walking around
It's
the corner.
exactly what I'm saying, man.
Gunshots
It's
in the
exactly
background
this is-
behind her.
No, exactly what I'm getting at. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, man. What are you gonna do? You're gonna fucking drop your trousers, man. You're gonna drop them, and you're gonna
Stop, drop, and roll.
do all day. All day is what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my whole point. Is that
That's a good. I never really
there-
thought about it that way.
it shouldn't be a thing. If you're gonna go into the military, if that's something that you're gonna do, then you should be all about it. And a woman or a man, regardless of your gender identity or your sexuality identity, whatever the fuck that is, that needs to be set aside.
Yeah.
You need to focus on nothing but that, and nobody around you is going to get in the way of that. And then also, I feel like does that break down into a like a trust factor? Do you not trust the men as much because you didn't go through boot camp with these men? You went through the boot camp with all the women. Same thing with the men. Why would I trust a woman to go into a firefight with her when she didn't drag me in boot camp? That guy did. But he's not here now. Now I'm
Yeah.
stuck with a woman. Do I know that she's going to be able to save me? Shouldn't she have been in boot camp with me? Because they know at some point you might be stuck with a woman
You
that
have to
might
rely on both genders.
yeah,
equally.
regardless.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. As to I don't think that they should be separated. And if you're gonna go into the military, you need to know that if that's gonna be a problem for you, then don't do it.
I don't want to overgeneralize too much, but that's kind of like radical sects of Muslim faith is that causes issues as well. Where like part of the culture is they'll dress up in the burqas and the hijabs and keep their body covered because the Quran in certain sections says that the body is too much of a temptation. So it's to keep men from raping women, because if they showed too much skin, men wouldn't be able to help themselves, and they'd like ravenous wolves would just be on all the women all the time. And that I don't like I said, I don't want to overgeneralize. Not,
How often do you have like fantasies?
I mean, I'm married. I have a pretty good relationship. And before I was with my wife, I would fantasize about different people all the time, but I don't fantasize all that often.
I might like sometimes, but for the most part, yeah, I'm with you. Like it's gotta be like just like random shit. Like it's not anything like super serious.
Yeah.
Ever. Like it's maybe like a random person I see like walking by or
Done that
some
a
shit
couple
like that.
times.
Like, and that's about
you
it.
you see an exceptionally pretty person,
It's
sticks with you.
it's uncommon for me to not bring up, like my fiance and to talk about her. So like the moment that you meet me, you're gonna know that like I'm about her and only her. But I mean there are those times. So my whole thing with that was I don't know, I kinda lost what were we talking about?
We're talking about transgender in the military. Can I relate this back to Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you think of Twitter as like a platform that people come on and then they get banned for harassment, Twitter's like a company, right? And you can work at a company.
So, are you going
let's
at
say-
misgendering?
No. Well, I mean that too. I don't know if I want to. We can get into that. But where I was going with that is like the company that I work at or that you work at. Like, there's also HR and like
Mhm.
laws on harassment and sexual harassment at the businesses that we work at.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say the wrong thing to a certain person, it's gonna get me. I'm fired. I'm gonna lose my job and potentially have like legal action taken against me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twitter's kind of like
The
you're,
same
you're
thing.
participating in this environment that a corporation has laid out for you. They've given you the rules. They've told you not to harass, and then you go and harass, and you get a warning, and then if you keep it up, you're fired. You get banned. Like you're off the platform now. You left the company.
I mean, Vidya even like specifically told him multiple times that it's a 3-strike program. Like these people have done multiple things, and I mean, he does bring up a good point that it could be different things. but
Yeah.
you signed up for this. There is a user agreement. Whether you decided to read that user agreement or not is on you. And if you didn't know that docking somebody is going to get you a strike, that's on you. You didn't read the user agreement. That's not on them. I mean,
Yeah.
I am with the 99% of other people that don't read the user agreement. Scroll to the fucking bottom, click the little box that says I fucking read this shit and move on. But I don't have to worry about that. I know the generalized, points or laws that are in place with social media. And I'm never going to talk badly about somebody on social media either because it's not the place to do it, honestly. I mean, I understand voicing your opinion, but doing that and also putting somebody down on social media just causes nothing but problems because people take things out of context.
Yeah.
In text, regardless of whether it's on, social media or in a text message, people take things out of context.
You can't convey tone over that media.
Yeah, and I mean, even with your talking, like, that still is an issue, and people take that shit out of context too because some news place can cover your story and only say certain quotes that you said that are taken out of context,
Yeah.
which has happened multiple times before. So there are plenty of things, but still, the text can be taken out of context,
Right. So
misconstrued.
exactly. So that's kind of touching on like how quickly this becomes complicated. Like just human communication in general can become pretty complex, and then you introduce this giant technology into our lives in the form of Twitter that allows us to communicate in a mass way that we've never been able to do before. And a lot of it's pretty toxic. So to take this back to like gender issues, the reason I brought up like a corporate environment, like in a real physical place, this is kind of easier to wrap your mind around. Like if I make a fucked up comment to Becky, I'm getting fired. That makes a lot of sense. The Twitter thing gets gray and convoluted quick. So like there was a recent case, I think Joe even brought it up on his podcast to go back to that too, of somebody who identified as a cat requesting a litter box to be placed in their workplace, like an extra bathroom type situation, like a transgender bathroom, but this would be cat gendered and there'd be litter boxes in there.
No, because it.
So
Yeah, because of the whole transgender bathroom thing, really kind of like, should I add a third fucking bathroom for transgender people, regardless of what gender you are? This is if you identify as transgender, this is the bathroom that you use.
should we
Like,
change the amount of bathrooms or should we change the way people relate to bathrooms? What would be easier? If you just make it so that it's acceptable for transgender people to use whatever bathroom they're comfortable with and society accepts that, then you don't need the extra bathroom.
but then there are the issues with, like, people saying that they're a transgender female going into these female bathrooms and causing issues and harassing women and all this other shit. So I can see where that's a problem that arises when you become.
I think that's a lot of ignorance, though.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's.
I had
Oh,
a time in my life where I was that ignorant. We have a mutual friend that I won't name on the show, but I went to junior high with them, and I thought they were male, and they would change for gym in the female locker room. And for the longest time, it was like, why does that guy get to change in there? That's the dopest shit ever. Like, I was like, I want to change with the girls. Like, but when I finally realized what was going on, it was like, oh, I've been really ignorant, and that was a problematic view I had on it, and like very immature way of looking at it. That's kind of a light example from when I was like 14, but I think
yeah,
there's a level of that in society, or even just over worried parents. Where like, I get having kids that you wouldn't want somebody who's biologically male in the female's bathroom with your child. I can get the over worrying there, but people don't change gender so they can rape people.
I mean, you're talking about people that have taken something that other people really feel when it comes to becoming transgender and taking going through the operations and everything like that. Like those, I mean, even people that, don't go through the operations but still identify. The real people that do this are not gonna, you know, rape your children or touch them or harass them or anything like that. It's the people that abuse these, viewpoints. And that happens with any viewpoint, period. Talking about politics, like the left or the right, there's always extremists, and there's always people that are trolls, kind of, or quote trolls, because to say that somebody that identifies or it says that they identify as a woman goes into a bathroom and decides to touch on little kids, that is extremely fucked up, and they are abusing that viewpoint. And there's
Yeah. That's a numbers game, though. It's
oh
kind of like
yeah,
the razor blade and the Halloween candy type thing. Where it's
yeah,
like happened once in all of history.
and then literally it's a worldwide. Well, I would maybe not worldwide.
Every
'Cause I don't.
Halloween it comes up, and it
Oh
happens maybe
yeah,
once every 20 years.
I mean, maybe it happens once a year, man. I
No,
don't.
it doesn't.
No.
I promise you, if you Google it, you'll find maybe 3 cases in all of recorded history of that actually happening.
No shit.
There's more cases of people putting like needles into things, but it's still extremely rare.
Huh. Fair enough.
You look
Okay.
up like the actual stats on the, or even like if you go back to the satanic panic of the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
like most of that was just people being paranoid. There was no satanic rituals or sacrifices that happened.
Well, this is where I feel like the internet, like I said before, things get taken out of context and then they get misconstrued, and people start going to extreme sides, and then without doing your own research and looking far into this, like the whole Momo thing.
Yeah, that was
The,
so overblown and continues
so
to be.
so overblown. And then also I'm like, how many parents out there just let your kids, like your young kids, go and watch YouTube videos?
You'd be surprised. Yeah, I even like we use YouTube to let the kids watch Peppa Pig, and that's one of the kids shows that comes up a lot with these conspiracies. There was the Elsa Gate thing, where people were using these animated kids show characters and putting them either like it'd be a cosplay of real people doing weird borderline sexual stuff that kids were watching. So it'd be like Spider-Man and Elsa from Frozen. Elsa'd be strapped to the bed and he'd be like dumping a cup of water on her or something. Like it's
Oh,
borderline not
sorry.
okay.
Wait, what?
And then there was a lot of violence.
The picture I just got of Elsa strapped on the bed and Spider-Man just
Spider-Man's
like
dumping water.
pouring a cup of water on her, man. Like, is the water hot, or is it just like room temperature? Is it cold,
I
or
don't know.
like how does this? Is he like waterboarding her, or like what?
It's so confusing. Like
Okay, yeah. See this.
they're kind of trippy videos to watch. So there was that. Then there was the more recent thing that's been happening is that they'll take like an actual video of like Peppa Pig or some children's show, and then like 10 minutes into it, they'll splice in a 30-second clip of somebody saying like, I think the one that was the most well documented is somebody comes on and kind of like a distorted video clip, and they go, "Remember, kids, uh, sideways for attention. Uh, what's the saying?
Oh,
Horizontal for attention, vertical for or parallel for."
Remember, it's not across the street; it's down the river.
Yeah, so he says
Something
that for
like
like
that.
for results is the quote, and so it's in the middle of like a Peppa Pig show. A guy comes on, tells kids how to cut their wrists, suggests that they do it. So there actually has been video evidence of that happening. And then the most recent thing that's happened on YouTube Kids is people will timestamp on video. They'll put in the comments a timestamp of videos of like gymnastics
Yeah, the
practices.
pedophile shit coming
Yeah,
into this. Yeah.
yeah. So I hyper vigilantly when like I put YouTube on for the kids, I make sure that I'm on my account for one so that I can monitor all the history of the videos that they've been watching. I can see all that stuff. Also, I make sure that like if they're in the other room, I'm nearby and I'm listening to what's going on the TV.
Yeah.
And they watch maybe an hour or two of TV max a day. And it's usually Peppa Pig or like PJ Masks on Netflix, but I do worry about that type of
See,
stuff.
that's where I would use something like Netflix. Like, I would make sure, like, YouTube, I'm
Peppa's
not.
not on Netflix, man.
What about Hulu?
Nope. My kids fucking love Peppa Pig, and if I don't put on Peppa and they're demanding it, it's gonna be.
Where is it only on YouTube that you can find it? Is there an actual,
You
like,
could buy it,
source?
yeah.
There's an actual
It's
source
just
that you can get it from.
convenience.
I mean, I totally feel it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, if your
You gotta.
child loves Peppa Pig, like, it would be easier for you to go onto YouTube and just search it there than to go and actually buy it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if it was on Netflix or Hulu and you were already paying for that and already using it, it would just be a convenience thing. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, we also use those services. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not using just YouTube. I'm just saying that like if you're gonna use YouTube, you should supervise what they're. No matter what service you're using, you should supervise what your kids are watching.
Oh, totally. See, that's where I was like, why is this even a thing?
But the Momo thing is way overblown. Like it's just paranoid. Like we were talking before, it's paranoid parents over worrying. You hear about this on the news, and then the news media doesn't help because
They overblow it too.
Even CNN was saying like this is a dangerous thing, and that this is affecting children, and there's not much evidence of this actually happening.
Like, how much does this affect? Like, where's the evidence of actual kids like slitting their wrists strictly because of this video that they saw?
There's no documented cases of kids watching a Momo video, or there like in WhatsApp there's like a number you can text to talk to Momo. It's actually where this started. Is it started in Mexico. It was I think it was on WhatsApp. And it was just kind of like a popular Mexican myth with kids where they would talk to Momo, and the it's a Japanese sculptor who created this like bird woman.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got this giant scary smile, sharp pointy teeth. It's pretty freaky looking, but it's just
When you realize where it comes from,
I think it's called Bird Mother, the name of the sculpture.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, do you think that this goes into because with as you guys, some of the listeners might know already, but some of you might not if you've come into the episode this far. I'm gonna have a baby girl, and with all the like sex trafficking and all that stuff that's been going on, that it concerns me. But then I'm also kind of like I'm not ever gonna be in a situation, or my daughter's never gonna be in a situation where that would happen to her.
Yeah.
And but then again, there is that point where it's like, if my fiance was like, I'm gonna go, to the gas station, and she gets out of her car, and then all of a sudden, the white van that she just happened to pull up next to, dudes pop out and, take her. Like, that is a possibility, but how often does that happen? Is really what I'd have to look into before I got extremely concerned about it. But I mean, not saying that it isn't something that we should be concerned about, because if I ever saw anybody, anybody, whether they are a man, woman, child, if I see you being taken and I can tell that that's not where you want to go, like, I'm going to follow that person. I'm going to make sure that, like, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure.
A very specific set of skills.
And I will fucking use them, is what I'm saying. And I will make sure that I'm still protected. Like, I'm not going to try and put myself in any dangerous situation to where I would feel that my life is endangered, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that, you're okay too. Like, I'm not trying to get killed, but if the dude holds a fucking gun to my head and is like, walk away now, or I'm going to fucking kill you, probably just going to walk away, and I'm sorry. But know that I tried to do everything that I could. And so that's where I'm like, I don't feel that, that this isn't something that we should worry about and you shouldn't be concerned about, because we definitely should, because it is an issue. But it also makes me feel like, how much of an issue is it? And should it be something that I, lose sleep over, sort of? Should I be worried about that after my baby's born, that at some point, she could be taken away from me like that? And it scares me, it does, but also, I'm like, how much should it scare me? I don't know. I don't know the numbers, man.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers on it. I know they vary by area. Like, depending on where you are, it can be worse. That goes with all crime in general, though. I think with the Momo thing and YouTube stuff in general, you should always the general rule of thumb is supervise your children. Make sure you know what they're watching. Be an involved parent.
That's why I was like, where does this even come from? Like, I would know what my kids are watching. I'm gonna be like pretty much around them while they're watching whatever it is they're watching. Like, if I would hear that come on
Yeah.
and be like, what's happening? Like, they wouldn't even realize what's happening before
As a
it was
parent,
over.
yeah, as a parent, you should also have the tools to explain to your child like what's going on. And I mean, obviously, there's different ages that this could.
Ooh, good question here. What is a good age to tell your kids about any certain subject? Like,
I
do
think
you
being
feel that there's
honest with your.
restrictions?
I think being honest with your children up to a certain point of like darkness. Like I haven't. My oldest is 3, and she has no idea of the concept of death yet, which I'd like to keep it that way for a while. But it's one of those things where just being honest is a good like baseline. I tell my daughter knows about monsters, and
She watched Monsters Inc., didn't she?
no, just some
I'm
other
just
show, and then
kidding.
other kids at school. And growing up, my grandma would tell me that the dumpster behind the shop that she worked at, she'd have me take the trash out, and she'd say, "Go feed the trash monster." And she had me believing that there was like a monster that lived in the dumpster that would eat the trash, and that's where it all went at the end of the week.
That's so much cooler than
So
there's a guy that comes and picks this shit
yeah,
up,
yeah.
you know?
So I tell my daughter that, and she loves it. So like, at the same time, I also explain to her that like monsters aren't real. This is just kind of a fun thing that people have come up with. It can be scary, but sometimes being scared is fun. Like I try to explain to a 3-year-old the best way I can that like this is something you don't have to worry about, but it exists. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
It's almost like the folklore exists, and it could possibly or uh probably is a thing. Like, let's be real here. With all the conspiracies that we talk about when it comes to aliens and monsters and all this other shit, like, there is a probability that this is true. Now, the possibility of it being true is probably not that good, but
I think this is kind of an interesting subject we've come up on because, like, a lot of the purpose for the stories of monsters and evil out in the darkness and out in the woods
is to
is
teach a story.
it was to protect children from wandering out too far, like give them something to be scared of because there's not monsters out there, but there are things that will hurt you.
Yeah.
So it's important to convey those, but also at the same time be honest about why you're telling those stories.
So, when you were talking about the concept of death in your child, and this is something I've already thought about with my child that's not even born yet, was my dog, Susan. Because
Yeah, I worry about that with my cat. We've got a fish.
I mean, again, thank you so much for Susan. I love that dog. She is the best dog I could have ever asked for.
I'm glad she has a good home, man.
She's nothing but a lover, and that's all me and honesty are. And she fits perfectly into our like family. Like it's. But one of the things that I did think about was the way that we are having a child and how old Susan is around the time that Susan would naturally pass away. Is around the time that my child's going to understand what death is or start to question that there is death. And so I've thought about the whole process of my dog, passing away and having to explain that to my child. And that being that example that I give to them instead of, maybe a family member passing away or something, it's going to be my dog. And I'm almost kind of like I was like, okay, this is a good thing. Like this is teaching her about the cycle of life and that this is a thing that happens, but also reminding her of all the good times that she brought to us, like me and honesty, all the comfort that she's brought to us, especially in like these past couple months and all the stress that we've been through and everything. Like she is a comfort zone for us. Anytime that I'm around her, I sleep next to her. Like I know it's a thing that you shouldn't let your dog sleep in your bed with you. Fuck all that. I honestly I don't care. There's no way. Or not letting your dog on the couch or not letting your dog on your bed or all of that. No, 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 no. That dog sleeps next to my head. She lays her head on my pillow and sleeps next to us, in
Yeah.
between us, and I wouldn't want anything different. Like that stuff is I love her so much, and I'm going to explain that to my daughter too. Like she brought the comfort. She lived a life exactly to the point of where she should have lived her life.
Yeah.
And the her passing even then is like if she lives out her natural life and we take care of her. So unless something crazy happens, she will live that natural life. And it'll also be a learning experience. She's good. Her whole life is just going to be amazing because she's going to comfort and she's also going to teach. And she doesn't even know. She's just a dog. She
Yeah.
has no idea about all of the things that we understand. And she just is happy to see us every single time we come home, man. She's so excited to see us. When we're done with this podcast and I go into my room and I, lay down with her, she's just gonna cuddle up next to me and lick my face and be all happy to but she has no idea what that really does to me and how much it affects my life. She has no conscious brain strong enough to understand all of that. And it makes me happy to know that she's going to be a part of even my child's life and helping my child understand everything. Like I think so far ahead with things like that I probably shouldn't, but then again I'm like happy that I do think that far ahead.
You should think that far
Oh,
ahead. I think it's all of what you said I completely agree with. I would
it is a morbid way to think about it. Like I'm thinking about my dog like passing away.
I'm about to get darker.
Heard. Let's go.
I'm gonna say that you haven't thought far enough.
You don't think?
I don't want to fuck your night up or anything, but I just took my 2-year-old to a funeral a week ago, and my son, and you kind of feel like a dick with like a 2-year-old at a funeral because you're like, here's this fresh new life, and I'm at a funeral. It's a weird feeling being there with a baby. So my great grandfather passed away. He's up there in age. So
My condolences, man.
yeah, he lived a long, adventurous. I mean, he lived many lives.
This is a point that I'm getting at is that like, you know,
Yeah.
it's upsetting, but you know that that person lived a good life.
Yeah. So while I was there at the funeral, though, my daughter was with my great grandma on, or no, just my grandma on my dad's side, and my daughter is absolutely in love with her. Like, she talks about that grandma more than she talks about me or Crystal. Like, when she gets in trouble, she asks for that grandma.
Oh,
she goes, I want
yeah,
grandma.
yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is like, she's pretty up there in age too, and there's gonna come a time. Well, they're still pretty young. Like, it's the biggest attachment that little girl has in her whole life, and when that grandma passes, I mean, for me too, like I have a giant connection with this person, and she's affected my life in a major way. But for my daughter, it's gonna break my heart watching her go through that. I don't want to cry while I'm talking about it because I'm just trying to make a point here. But you got to think about like, so the dog's like the first step, or like for us, we have a cat and a goldfish, you know?
Yeah.
But there's gonna come a point where like the older people in your life are gonna pass too, and it's gonna hurt you, but it's gonna hurt your kid more, and you're gonna have to like be there for that and explain it to them and be the rock for that. It's hard. That thought scares the shit out of me.
My I think about this constantly. Honestly, I do. With my grandparents especially because I know that that's gonna really affect me, and I don't know exactly how much my kids are gonna be with my grandparents, or even with my parents in general. But I just know that with my grandparents, it's gonna affect me a lot,
Yeah.
and so it's gonna be for me a huge thing of like I'm gonna be going through a lot, and I don't know how much my child is gonna be involved with that or how old they're gonna be, because my grandparents are up there in kind of age too. So, and my grandfather scared us recently, and it like I immediately was like, what happened? Like, how is he doing? Like, what's going on? Like I'm terrified of anything happening to them, even especially now. Like, I'm terrified that something's gonna happen in between, like now and before my child's born, and that scares me because I want my grandparents, because they're a huge influence in my life, to be a part of my child's life.
Yeah.
And I guess that you're right. I haven't thought about it that far. That if my grandparents are as big enough of an influence in my child's as they were to me, it's going to affect them, and then I have to watch that. Like that, that is a huge thing, and
It's an extra layer of hurt that you have to deal with on top of already being hurt. Like you're feeling for your child at the same time too, and having to
yeah.
also be like the rock that they lean on for support through all of it too.
I I guess I would just really try and pull out the best memories that I can, and be like, just, I know that they're not here anymore, but look at what they done. Like, the reason, at least with like my grandparents, the reason that I am the way that I am is because of them.
Yeah.
They were a huge influence in my life. And when you look at like my humor and the way that I talk and stuff, like it's, and then you go and meet my grandfather and it all makes sense.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, okay." Like, if you accidentally hurt yourself, I'd be like, "Well, why'd you do that?" And then you go and talk to my grandfather and he'll say the same thing. It's because I
Yeah.
got it from him, you know. A lot of my humor comes from him, and it's kind of pointing out the obvious, you know. Well, why'd you do that? Well, did it hurt? And you're like, yeah, it hurt. I said ow, and like it almost like kind of frustrates you, but then you know that I'm just like joking around with you, like you should have done that. And
Yeah.
you're like, I know.
My stepdad, when I was little, used to do shit like that. I'd be like, I got something in my eye. And he'd be like, what, your finger? You asshole, that's not what I meant.
When me and my fiance first got together, he was like, I was telling him about her, and and how much like she was gonna move in and everything. He was like, is she deaf? Is she blind?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like that shit is what I grew up with. I
Yeah.
got thick skin, man. I got real thick skin. I mean,
About most things.
yeah, good point there.
There's a couple things I've really recently learned that you don't like me talking about.
All right, fair enough. I mean, if you're like, most of the time, I enjoy messing around, and
Yeah.
like you can make fun of me all you want and whatever, and I'm just gonna like take it as a joke, or it's not really gonna bother me, and I'm just gonna make fun of you back, and we're gonna have this like back and forth banter, whatever, and then at the end of the day, we're still friends, whatever. But there
Yeah.
are a few things that I,
Everybody
feel-
has their things.
feel strongly about, whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I like to joke and play around.
Yeah.
It takes it. You have to be somebody that has done something to me, or that, like, I have to feel a certain way about you for me to take anything that you say like the wrong way. For the most part, unless I know for a fact that you're not joking, and that you're like mad, and then you say some shit, and I'm gonna be like, okay, well, hold up, let me, no. But I always try and keep like a, especially at my workplace, like it's not my ideal job that I want to be at. It's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. What I want to do is this podcast for the rest of my
Yeah.
life, and that's my dream. Like, life is to do this podcast for the rest of my life. What I do now is not what I want to do, but I make the best of the situation. I'm friends with everybody that I work with. I make sure of that. There are a few people that I don't necessarily like. I just don't talk to them. I just act like they don't exist. If you need something work related, I got you. I
Yeah.
can do that. Like, if you need a side of sour cream, I'm gonna get you a side of sour cream, regardless of whether I like you or not.
I got that sour cream.
It's my job
Yeah.
to do that, and I understand that. So when it comes to my job and what my job description is, I will fulfill that out 100% every single time, regardless of whether I like you or not. Now, when it comes to outside of that, and like you try and spark a conversation with me, I'm not going to talk to you just because I don't like you. I'm just going to cut you out. If it's work related, I'll talk to you. If not, I'm not going to deal with you. But for the most part, I'm friends with everybody that I work with. I just try and keep, a good environment. I want it to be happy, and I want you to be happy, and I want it to feel fun. So we can, and you enjoy your work, and you enjoy being around me. It creates a good environment. You enjoy what you do. You
Yeah.
take pride in what you do. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm always trying to bring a good, optimistic point of view from things. But I do have my moments.
Yeah. Like I said, everybody's got their triggers, and everybody's got a few things
What would be one? I'm actually kind of curious.
that I think pisses you off.
Yeah.
Well, the no ass thing and the you need to eat more because you ain't got no ass thing. You've made a whole point to send me pictures of you eating.
That was, and I've been trying to do it every single time I eat, and I keep forgetting, and it's pissed me off because I'm like, I wanted to, and we even had a conversation on Discord, and you were like, oh man, I'm sorry, and I was like, no, no, like, don't be sorry, like, I'm not taking offense to this, I'm just gonna prove to you that I do eat, and I keep forgetting.
I'm gonna keep telling you to eat more, no matter how many pictures of you eating you send me.
I literally get to the last bite, and I'm like, fuck, I should send him a picture of this last bite. And then I'm like, but that doesn't prove that I ate anything.
It looks like Honesty ate most of what you had.
Yeah.
You're taking a bite.
Yeah. And I was like, no, that doesn't work. I was trying to do it at work, and like I ordered some food at work, like on my break, and was like trying to eat it, but I was on my break, and I was like trying to eat it real quick, and so I like ate it real quick, and then I was like taking a video as I was eating it, and then somebody came up to me and started talking to me about honesty, and I like put my phone down, and then it like locked itself, and then when I went back, the video just automatically was like gone, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Damn.
I was like, it would have been fucking perfect too to like prove my whole point. I wanted to get like a whole compilation together, but when I can eat, I just have to fucking eat, and so I just do it. But I mean, by the time I'm done eating, I'm like, fuck, I could have fucking sent that to him and just
It's a time constraint thing.
prove to him that I've fucking eaten, you know? Yeah. No, that doesn't. I do have an ass, by the way. Just so you fucking know. All right, I'm going to
I didn't
defend
think you were
this.
completely assless.
I'm not
like,
completely assless, okay? But I understand, like,
Even a Ken doll has an ass.
When you get into the point of, like, from a guy that has an ass to no ass, it looks like I don't have an ass. But I wear baggy clothes, and that's my issue. I don't wear, like, first of all, I'm a skinny person. And then second of all, I wear, like, sort of baggy clothes, so that doesn't necessarily play into it. But if you touch my ass, I have a decent ass there. Like,
I don't know, man. I've seen
something to grab. It feels nice.
I've seen some skate injuries that you've taken on your hips before, and you pull down the side, and you've got like an A cup ass. It's all right,
dude. Dude, do you remember when I fell like at Skate Naked? Were you there?
I think I was there because I've seen a few of your really bad hip injuries, and I think I was there for that one.
That's one of the things about being skinny that I talk about that is like super shitty. Is like my bones are there. Falling from like 6 feet in the air to straight onto my side was one of the most painful things I've ever felt.
Yeah,
for real.
They had trouble walking after that.
Oh yeah, and like the whole park went silent too.
Yeah,
like it was insane. Like, and I didn't. And what was really crazy for me is I didn't make a sound. I didn't move for the longest time. I just fucking laid there and like wasn't making any noise or anything. I was just so much in pain and so in shock that I just fucking laid there.
Those are the falls that worry skaters the most, because like somebody's like, ah, you're like, ah, you good, man? And
you're probably okay.
Yeah, but if somebody just hits the ground and then lays there, you're like, fuck, are you okay?
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Dude.
You're running up like, come on, man, just say something. Are you all right?
Yeah, that was definitely one of my most like scariest falls for me personally. Like even just laying there and thinking for a second, I was like, I could be like seriously fucked up. I was afraid to move. I was afraid that something was going to be broken and that I was going to be fucked up. I'm going to have to call an ambulance or something like that. I was not prepared for that at all.
Yeah.
But luckily, I walked away. I'm pretty sure we left after that. It was not shortly after. I sat on the bench for a little bit and was like, I'm ready to go.
It's hard to be in a good mood after taking a slam like that.
That
and
hard.
wanting to be around skating. You're just like, I just need to go home.
I'm not joking. It was a good 5-6 feet to straight flat concrete on my side. It was pretty bad. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not exaggerating it when I say that like the whole indoor skate park went silent and no like people heard me hit the ground. I
Yeah.
don't remember the sound of me hitting the ground. I just remember honestly I don't remember even like how it happened. Like I hope that there's somebody out there that remembers this that can give me a little bit more insight
I
as
don't
to what
remember
happened.
exactly how it went down either.
I do remember that it was on a it was a bank that had like a I want to say a shelf. It's not.
The deck and the coping on it?
It was a bank that had a box
Oh,
on
like
top of
a
it,
Eurogap type thing?
kind of. So
Yeah.
like you could go up the bank, but to get up on top of the box, you had to like ollie up onto the box.
Yeah.
So I went up onto the box and like ollied up onto it and went to go and ollie off and just lost my footing or something and somehow ended up missing the embankment completely and just went straight to concrete, like went straight to
Fuck.
flat.
Yeah.
And the way that the bank was and everything, it was a good 5-6 feet in the air and just went, yeah.
Did you ever get to skate the flow before it shut down?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, skated? No. I might have. I think I skated it like maybe once or twice, but I mostly rode BMX there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Before they shut down, they had like a few additions. They added like a giant vert wall that had like a viewing area for like
Yeah.
spectators.
Yeah.
And in front of that vert wall, when you first walk, there's first walk in, there's a mini ramp with a dope oververt section. Then there's this
Yep.
oververt wall with a stage on top of it for people to watch the skaters. In
Yep.
front of that vert wall, there was like an angled hip. It wasn't a full like 90-degree angle hip. It was more like a 30, 45-degree angle.
Okay.
And it was probably like 6 feet high. And no coping on it. Just kind of like a wedge, triangle at the top separating the two ramps. There's a little platform that you could manual across if you didn't get the air for it.
I'm pretty sure I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
In front of that, there was a giant roll-in bank that was probably like 8 feet tall. So it was one of my favorite things to skate once I learned how to pop over that hip and then hit the vert wall. You could get shit ton of speed, make it up to the top of the vert wall, and then come back down with a shitload of speed and then roll up that 8-foot roll-in ramp.
Oh yeah.
It was tons of fun. Dad usually takes me every other weekend, and first thing we do when we get there is he goes to the bathroom and I go skate the vert wall. So I get to the top of the 8-foot rolling ramp and I go to fly over the hip, and I get not quite enough air. And I do this all the time, and I was just like expecting to roll over to the other side, but my truck's hung up on the top of the hip
That's my worst fear.
and tossed me from 6 feet to flat onto my side.
Oh man.
And I haven't told very many people this, but my right testicle is smaller than my left testicle ever since.
Because of that?
Because my legs slammed together so hard that it felt like I popped my nut.
No shit.
And my dad didn't believe me, and I also was like, I broke my hip. Like, I'm certain I broke my hip. And my dad was like, you'd be crying, you'd be in a lot of pain. And no shade to my dad. Somebody's not like writhing in pain when they break a hip, you probably don't believe him. Like,
But adrenaline and everything, running in that moment.
I don't think I now I don't think I broke my hip, but I think I shifted something in there because you know how you have kind of like an indent on the side of the ass meat when you're like standing, it kind of like goes in on the side of your hip a little bit. There's a little
Yeah.
divot there. The right side is way more. It looks like somebody scooped a scoop of ice cream out of my ass on the right side. Ever since that happened.
No shit.
Yeah. My leg pops and my hip pops in weird ways sometimes. If I raise my knee up to my chest too high and like stretch it back out, I get a big pop from my hip.
Dude, my knees started fucking squeaking. Like literally I was walking at work the other day and was like I hear it was more like and so I was like what is going on? And so I'm like holding my keys, I'm holding my phone, and I'm holding my e-cig all at the same time because I'm thinking it's like maybe my keys are just like moving in a certain way when I'm walking and they're squeaking and everything.
Yeah,
No,
going
it's
down
my
the
knees.
checklist.
It's my fucking knees, man. I'm 23 years old and my knees squeak.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skating will do that to you.
That's my life right now.
Yeah.
I need to stretch, man. That is the main thing is I need to start stretching. I need to My issue is I'm working so much. I'm just so exhausted that when I get up in the morning, I get up and I go straight to work. I get up, I get dressed, and I go to work.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I don't have any time to, like, if I were to wake up any earlier, I'm losing it, even more sleep, and that's just not an option.
Wake up
for
5
me.
minutes earlier and then stretch.
For 5 minutes?
5-10 minutes. Every
Dude,
day.
I set my alarm for 8 o'clock, and I still don't get up for it till 8:30.
I know. See, I say that, and it's like I do the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Sometimes I'll push it as far as I can before I have to get up and like,
Oh,
start getting
yeah.
ready for work.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm usually late for work.
We keep coming back to like, we just need more self-care. Everybody should do more self-care, but we're not gonna.
I don't feel like I'm not gonna. I just feel like right now I just can't do that. I should make the time for it, but I'm also like young and my body can, recover a lot quicker. So I have a little bit of time, but it is something that I constantly fight with myself over. Like I'll be sitting there like drunk, at the end of the night, laying in bed, and like my mind starts running, and I'm like, you need to get up in the morning and stretch. You need to start eating better.
Yeah.
You need to like vegetables. Why don't you eat vegetables? Why don't you like them? Why don't you don't like strawberries? What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Why don't you like strawberries? They're delicious. Put a little bit of fucking sugar on them. Eat that, okay? Just quit your whining.
Ooh, a little bit of salt. Try that too.
With strawberries?
Any fruit.
Any fruit.
A little bit
really?
of salt. Just a little.
I've started to like fruit better. I definitely have. Like at first I didn't like pineapple. I like pineapple now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get that. I still don't like cherries. Cherries are gross.
Cherries kind of suck.
Yeah.
Candy cherries are good.
Raspberries are pretty good. I do like raspberries.
Are dope. Do you like blueberries?
No. No.
What do you like about blueberries?
I don't like the taste, man. I don't know if it's like maybe when I was younger, like the taste of blueberry pancakes was just gross to me.
Oh, dude,
I hated
those are
that.
so good.
I remember the first time that I like bit into a blueberry pancake, thinking that it was like a chocolate pancake, because I had chocolate pancakes before, and then all of a sudden my mom bought these blueberry pancakes, and I was like, oh my god, yes, chocolate pancakes, and took a bite and was like,
I could see how the mixed expectations there would fuck you up.
Yeah,
like, for the rest of your life.
Never liked blueberries. Never been
That's
a
just
fan.
not chocolate.
I don't like beans either, man.
Yeah.
The texture and the taste of beans. There was one point in my life where I realized that if my family served beans, eat them first, because I could eat them when they were warm, but the moment that they got cold, that really killed it for me. I was really not trying to eat it when the beans were cold, but like chili and stuff, I don't like beans when they're in chili or anything. Dude. Yeah, and listen. You're saying, dude, and you're like the 50 millionth person in my life
it
to
ain't
be
chili
like,
with no beans, man.
And that's what everybody says, and I'm like, well, it is to me.
You're eating meat soup, like beef soup.
I'm totally cool with that, man. I might go on just like an all meat diet.
The Jordan Peterson thing.
Yeah.
Carnivore diet.
Yeah, I'll go on the carnivore diet, man. I feel like I could do it. Yeah. I love meat. I could eat that shit all day. Fuck, man. No vegetables at all. I want a burger with just the burger.
I think people are like diverse enough that apparently works for some people. Like some people can definitely get away with that.
It's more of an immune system, or like people who have like autoimmune fucking god damn it. Here we go again.
Divergencies. No, deficiencies.
Deficiencies.
Dilapidations. What's another D word? Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Discombobulated.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that's one of my favorite words, man. I really like
discombobulated.
Two of my favorite words: discombobulated, bananas.
I like onomatopoeia.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
can you spell onomatopoeia?
I used to be able to, but like as I'm thinking about it right now, I've smoked and drank too recently. That
you know what's funny?
I think it's O-N-O. I see. I'm already fucking up.
See, you could have said anything, and I would have been like, I don't know.
I could have spelled like Ottawa,
and I would have been like, well, okay, I probably would have fucking
Ottawa.
No, I would have picked up on that. Been like, no, that's not correct. But if you would have been on something that was like somewhat close, I probably would have just let it go.
MISSIPPI. Onomatopoeia.
I made it a point in my life to learn how to spell shenanigans.
Shenanigans is a great one.
SHENANIGANS.
Yeah.
So you know what's funny?
Yeah.
My coworker that I was talking about that says cinnamon
Yeah.
instead of cinnamon.
What's a synonym for cinnamon?
If you ask her to spell it,
Yeah.
she spells it correctly. She
Oh.
knows how to spell it. But I can see how the double N, people read it in their mind as an M. And
Yeah.
so cinnamon, but
Yeah.
it's really cinnamon.
Kind of swapping the letters a little bit.
And I feel it, but then again, I'm like, my dad can't say burglar.
I work with somebody who can't say orange. They say orange.
Orange?
Orange.
You could train yourself to not say that. If you really
She
felt
swears that it just comes out
Nope.
orange.
Nope. I'm telling you, you could train yourself to say it the right way.
Crystal says vanilla.
For vanilla?
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
No.
No.
It comes out as vanilla Coke when she asked for one.
No.
And it embarrasses her every time.
No.
And people will ask, what? Because people will be like, what'd you say? And then she'll have to go, vanilla Coke. Like, she has to, like, really think about it.
Okay, well, if it is something that bothers you, or, like, you got to take the time to sit out and pronounce the word. That's like, me learning, like, songs, like, Eminem and the Kamikaze. There's one line where he's like, I sound like a broken record every time I break a record.
Yeah.
Say that fast.
Sound like a broken record every time I break a record.
It almost kind of, it feels weird
It does.
coming out. Like, it's just one of those sayings
It's
that it
got
feels
kind of
weird.
a drum beat type thing to
Yeah.
it.
I sound like a broken record.
Ooh,
See?
yeah.
He says it so quickly, too. I sound like a broken record every time I break a record.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I like
See,
that.
it's weird for me, but, like, it's one of those things that I'm still working on it, and it's one of those lines I really want to learn, just for the plain reason of it's complicated for me to say.
Yeah.
Like, the pronunciation of it is fucked up, but I slow it down all the time. And I'll say it a lot too. Like, when I'm at work, I'll just randomly say it and be like, I sound like a broken record every time I break a record. And I wonder if he had to fucking take the time to get that line right.
I'm sure a lot of his songs, he slows it down and speeds it up over time. Like, it's like when you're learning something on your guitar, you play it slow first.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does that with his raps.
Yeah, but you know what an issue for me was in percussion? Is that I could play shit fast, but I couldn't play it slow. And it was always the saying that if you could play it slow, you could play it fast.
Yeah.
But I had the issue with playing shit too fast and not being able to play it slow.
Ah.
Yeah. I guess it's more of a timing issue than anything. But
Yeah.
it's not that I couldn't play the rhythm. It was just I couldn't play it in time.
I had a much nerdier version of the rap thing, like the lyrics thing when I was in grade school. I was obsessed with, like, what's the longest word in the dictionary? And there's a few, like, words that were developed exactly for that point. Like, they're made up words that
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be one of them.
So there's, like, words that people purposely made longer, but there's a pseudoscientific term for an actual disease that I've memorized since, like, 3rd grade. It's pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcaniconiosis.
Can you slow it down for me?
Pneumono ultramicroscopic silica volcaniconiosis.
And what exactly is that?
So pneumono, the first part of it, references the lungs. So, like, it's a lung disease. Ultramicroscopic is particles from volcanic ash. So pneumono ultramicroscopic silica, which is the type of particle, so like a silica gel inside the volcanic ash. Volcana, which is the part of it referencing that it comes from a volcano.
Okay.
Coniosis, which is the actual disease part of it. So it's where particulate from volcanic ash gets into your lungs and causes a pneumonia-like disease.
Oh my god.
I could probably spell it for you, too.
No shit.
It's going to take me a long time.
I want you to go and, like, memorize it and be able to, like, spell it out
Just
really
list
quickly.
it off quickly, yeah.
But that's awesome, though, that you were like, I want to find out what the longest word is, figured out what it is, and then also know what it is, too. It's not that you can just say it, but you know the information about it, too, and can break it down.
Somebody in, like, 6th grade was like, "Yeah, you said that, but what is it?" And then I had to go look it up.
So
It took me like 3 years.
Initially,
Yeah.
you just learned the word, and then
Yeah.
son of a bitch, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If there's anything else that you would like to talk about,
There was a game I wanted to play. I'll introduce the concept and we can save it for next time.
all right,
Because I'm gonna write out some scenarios. Originally, I was gonna have us back and forth off the top of our head, come up with movie plots from the perspective of the antagonist, and kind of turn it into like a Pixar film from the villain's point of view.
Okay.
So the example I gave you earlier was the Titanic, where it's a lonely iceberg who just wants friends, but learns that letting a friend get too close can end badly. And then you'd have to guess what movie I'm talking about.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna write out some. I'm gonna come up with some better plots, and we'll play that next time around.
I'll try and come up with some on my own because
Okay.
I've got a few movies that are like some of my favorite movies, and I'm gonna see if I can come up with a description that will be hard for you to pick out, even though it is like one of like you will know like it's one of my favorite movies, but I'm gonna make it difficult. I'm gonna try to.
Okay, that should be fun.
I got you. Heard that.
Other than that, I don't really have anything right now. I just gotta pee again.
Hey, me too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, Blue Skies from the Basement here. We're gonna be signing off.
Of
you
course.
know, closing it out for you guys. But thank you so much for listening. And yeah,
Yeah. We appreciate it, guys. I'm glad you made it this far.
later.
Peace.